Games decided in overtime between these two teams. The last 5 games by 3 points or less.
Chris Farr ready to kick it off for Los Angeles, and the game is underway. A short kick. It's a spinner. And it's going to hop out of bounds, so the Raiders will have to kick again from their 30. Boys starting up in earnest on the opening kickoff. Last season, the Raiders beat the Denver Broncos twice, as you may well know, and of course, the Raiders went on to win the division with a 12-4 record, while the Denver Broncos finished second, a game behind at 11-5, but Dan Reeves and his team did not go to the playoffs even with 11 wins.
And I think both coaches worry. At opening game of the season, everybody's got butterflies the size of helicopters. Simple little thing like what Gene Lang just did there on that kickoff. He let it go out of bounds, as opposed to trying to be a hero in the opening kickoff of the 1986 season. They made the right choice. And both Tom Flores and Dan Reeves in the early stages of this football game are looking for players making the right choice.
See how the series stands dating back to the old American Football League. Opening day is a most important day since the league went to 16 games in 1978. The stats show that the team that wins on opening day has almost twice the chance of making the playoffs as the team that loses on opening day.
Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't know that.
That's how it breaks down.
The other thing between these two teams since 1978, when they played twice in a season, either team is swept. So this seems to be very important for either team and both teams.
Now Chris Farr ready to kick it off again. A high spinning kick again to the far side. This is the Gene Lang looking for the ball. They kicked it away from Vance Johnson, and Gene Lang brings it out across the 25, and he's going to fight his way close to the 30-yard line. The silver and black come a gang tackling, but the Broncos get a good return. And now John Elway, who's had a sensational summer, starting his 4th year, brings out the Bronco offense. Winder and Lang, the runners, neither a breakaway threat. Vance Johnson is the fastest Bronco, had a phenomenal game against the Rams in the final preseason game, catching 11 balls for 195 yards. Watson's the possession receiver. This offensive line isn't big, but it's underrated. They take good care of Elway. They gave up only 38 sacks last year, and the Broncos throw as much as anybody in the league. Elway, a fastball, man is wide open. Vance Johnson, he'll be down at the 49-yard line of Los Angeles. They're on the first play from scrimmage, and here's a late hit call against the Raiders.
21 yards on a catch. Mike Haynes in the coverage, that typical Los Angeles Raider bump and run. There's Gene Tunney with a call, personal foul. You have no idea, if you're a Denver Bronco fan, how big a reception this is for Vance Johnson. Last year against Hayes and Haynes, the two gifted cornerbacks of the Raiders, they pretty much shut him down. A late hit by McElroy, an additional 15 yards. Bad choice by the Raiders. Excellent pattern run by Johnson.
He told me, Trump, before the game, Vance Johnson, he said, I'll admit it, I was intimidated by Los Angeles and had 2 terrible games against them, but he starts big with a 21-yard reception, followed by personal foul, penalty yardage assessed against the Raiders. First down, Denver, 34-yard line of Los Angeles. Opening series of downs for the Denver Broncos. Lang looks for room to run. Here's a penalty marker down. Linesman threw a marker at the snap.
This is going to continue throughout the week in the paper. In Denver and Los Angeles, Lester Hayes, personal foul against the Denver Broncos. Lester Hayes and Vance Johnson were really jawing at each other. Watch what happens at the line of scrimmage. And you see Watson on the outside, Johnson on the inside. Johnson goes for the chop block.
Left in, 5 yards, still first down.
You can see what Lester Hayes is doing, and he doesn't get called for it, but that's the intimidation factor of the Los Angeles Raider defense. By the way, Jim Tunney just walked up to Lester Hayes and said, don't do that again, son. It'll cost you 15. This is a playoff mentality for both of these.
Why didn't it cost him 15 there?
Because he
was checking him for stickum. I don't think he saw it.
Clarence Kay was caught moving.
Well, here we go. Now first and 15, Denver.
9 guys on the line of scrimmage for the
39-yard line of the Los Angeles Raiders. Johnson going in motion as Elway swings it out to Vance Johnson. The blocker's in front. Vance Johnson takes it ahead for a gain of only 4 yards. He is cut down at the 36-yard line. The defensive front, excellent for Los Angeles. Howie Long, consensus All-Pro. Bill Pickell, a rising star at nose tackle, and Sean Jones. There's been some changes in the linebacking. Jerry Robinson starts for the cut Brad Van Pelt, who went to Cleveland. Millen and McKenzie in the middle again. Rod Martin again on the outside. Hayes and Haynes, two of the best at cornerback. Stacy Turan in for Mike Davis at strong safety. McElroy again, the free safety for the Raiders. Second down and almost 12, just over 11. Elway takes a look, and he throws an incomplete ball. He was looking at Vance Johnson. Running with him, stride for stride, was Mike Haynes. Look again here, Trump.
You can see that Johnson gets a good release off the line of scrimmage here, but he's got to go underneath almost everybody. This ball is just slightly overthrown, but Mike Haynes is right there in coverage with Vance Johnson. He's the big man now for them on the line of scrimmage. Vance Johnson out of the backfield. It's Steve Sewell, number 30. Last week, Broncos able to get Sewell into the offense. He's in the lineup right now with Gerald Wilhite also in the backfield.
Raiders on 3rd and long now go to a spread formation. Elway set in the shotgun at the Raider 40. Home run ball. Watson's open. Touchdown, Denver. Wow.
Several things. One, Elway with great time, and two, his athletic ability. Steve Sewell was a primary receiver on that pattern, and out and up, Elway finds Watson in the end zone.
Now Carlos attempting the point after with Kubiak holding. It is on the way and good. And with 13:24 left to play in the first quarter, the Broncos score on their opening drive. The big bomb to Watson is the number that does it. Here it is.
It's from the shotgun. Sewell is to John Elway's right, but Elway likes the matchup that he gets with Watson down here. Watson's not gotten a lot of business in the summer, but he beats, I can't pick up the number on the coverage, Mike Haynes. Mike Haynes so far not had a particularly good first quarter. Now, he told us just a few minutes ago, did not have much of a summer. He was only healthy, he thought, for 2 days of practice with a pulled hamstring. Didn't feel sharp. John Elway taking advantage of him. Good pass protection. Watch him step up. I think that's one of the big changes in John Elway. 2 years ago, he goes left or right. Got no chance to find Watson. Big catch, sure-handed receiver, and the Broncos break out on top.
The 10-minute ticker, a new feature of NBC Sports. Every 10 minutes, 10 after, 20 after, and at the half hour, right on through the hour, we'll be updating all the scores from around the league, and that's how they stand today. Detroit was an upset winner over the Vikings at Minnesota, and Houston went into Green Bay as an underdog, and the Oilers maybe have it together after all those great drafts. They win big. San Francisco blowing out Tampa Bay in the fourth quarter. Atlanta has beaten New Orleans at the Superdome. That is an upset. Atlanta went as an underdog in that game. We'll be updating all the scores in progress and completed every 10 minutes throughout every broadcast on NFL football on NBC Sports in '86. Now, Carlos kicks off for the Denver Broncos. High spinner, downfield to Napoleon McCallum, the rookie from the Naval Academy. And McCallum takes it out across to the 21-yard line. Ensign McCallum playing football in his spare time, and he hasn't got much of that. He just got married. He's a full-time Navy man, and he's also it's a tough year.
Offsides, Denver. Will they kick it again? Apparently not.
Probably will, won't they?
I'd say Mr. McCallum has the all-time part-time job.
I would think the Raiders would want the kick over since they only got it back to the 20. They can do that good by downing the ball in the end zone. Here's Jim Tunney, the referee.
Offside on the kickoff, number 59. 5 yards, re-kick.
I have a feeling these guys are going to be busy today. This is one game we'll be thankful there's striped shirts out there on that field.
A very heated rivalry. 13-15 left to play in the first quarter. Here is McCallum, who set an NCAA record for all-purpose yardage. At the Naval Academy, averaged over 208 yards a game in all-purpose yardage, rushing, receiving, and returning kicks. He's big, 6'2", 218 pounds, a big strider. The Raiders didn't think they'd get him until after his 5-year naval commitment. I'm sure you've heard about that. The Navy said, we want you in uniform.
He's a poster boy for him. There's no question about that. You can be all you want to be.
Well, they said, Trump, that the Raider players would tell him it's like the crowd noise at an Army-Navy game when you come to Denver, except nobody cheers for Navy. Here's the big hit downfield. This time, Stephon Adams takes the ball. He's a sprinter across the 20. He's got more to the 25 and the 28-yard line. Coming down on special teams was Dennison to lead the way. Also Ken Bell, and here comes Mark Wilson, number 6, to lead the offense. Marcus Allen, coming off an MVP year in the NFL. Led the league in rushing, first Raider ever to do that. Hester and Williams, great speed at the flanks. Christensen, one of the very best at tight end. As usual, a huge offensive line. Mosbar really coming on. The Raiders think he's all-pro quality. Hawkins, nothing. Now, while we have a moment, with Broncos up 7-0, let's go to NFL 86 and Bob Costas. Bob? Right back here at Denver now. The Raiders are set to go. He's second down and 9. High back is Marcus Allen. Christensen went down. Looked like he was tripped. Official right there looking at it said no. It's an incomplete pass. Third down and 9, and the long yardage defense comes in for Denver. Bronco pass rush keyed around Rulon Jones, the veteran nose tackle Reuben Carter, Andre Townsend, the other starting defensive end. Now new people have come in. Mecklenburg made all-pro last year. Been the best linebacker in the league the way he graded out. Ricky Hundley, a new starter inside linebacker. Safeties are veteran and Smith and Foley. So is cornerback Louis Wright. Mike Hart, another good cover. Denver very sound defensively, as always, under Joel Collier. Raiders trailing first quarter 7-0. All-out rush coming. Wilson gets some time. He's running out of it. And Townsend, Jackson, Andre Townsend, a third-year defensive end from Mississippi.
Don, you mentioned the genius of Joe Collier. That particular time, the Denver Broncos had 7 defensive backs in the ballgame. They were able to double every receiver out there. Wilson had nobody to throw it to. Townsend, man-on-man with Henry Lawrence from the left side of the screen. You'll see he's got nobody to throw to. That's a coverage sack.
So the Bronco defense overwhelms the Raiders on L.A.'s first possession, and now Ray Guy ready to punt the ball. Gerald Wilhite is back. Broncos could come out of this with good field position. Wilhite will run it back from his 38. 40, back to the 44-yard line. Good coverage by the Raiders. 41-yard punt, a 5-yard return by Gerald Wilhite. 11:46 to play in the first quarter as Gerald Wilhite, a former #1 draft choice of Denver, comes off the field.
We're going to show you one of the things that I think Denver does very well with a scrambling quarterback in John Elway here in just a minute with our telestrator.
Elway stands in and he throws downfield, and a penalty marker comes in. It's going to be on Lester Hayes, who again was unable to cover Vance Johnson.
That's holding. Johnson is very, very fast. Watch him break to the inside. Now watch this move back to the outside, and Lester's left hand. Well, that's holding on both of them. That's holding on both of them. They're going to call it on Vance Johnson, pulling himself away from Lester Hayes.
Lester had a good preseason.
Offense number 82.
Oh-ho. So the call goes against the orange, and it was indeed Vance Johnson holding. Lester Hayes took his weight down about 15 pounds in the offseason and had 3 preseason game interceptions.
Good idea, but he just gets caught. That's a trick that wide receivers learn, but you've got to be a little more of an actor at it than that.
49ers won big at Tampa Bay 31-7 on opening day. We're in the first quarter, and now Elway and company with a tough set, 1st and 20 against the big pass rush of the Raiders. Howie Long coming hard, blocked well by Studdard. Here's a penalty marker down as Winder takes the ball across the Bronco 40-yard line out to the 43. And a marker down at the line and a holding call against Denver.
I think it's going to be on Ken Lanier. That's one thing about this Los Angeles Raider defensive line, Don. Great deal of conversation about sacks, but they also draw penalties.
Holding, 76, 10 yards, still first down.
That is Ken Lanier. Actually, though, I don't think coaches mind that so much. As big a part of the franchise as John Elway is, you can't turn someone like Piquel or Howie Long or Sean Jones just flat loose on John Elway.
Raiders trailing 7-0. The Raiders have won their last 4 regular season openers. Now Elway on 1st and forever. He's got 1st and 30. Swing pass to Wilhite. He'll get some. Out to the 30. And it's going to bring up 2nd down and about 22. Rod Martin came across to make the stop on Gerald Wilhite. On the opening series, the Broncos went down the field behind the passing of John Elway. First play from scrimmage, he hit Vance Johnson for 21 yards. Subsequently, threw into the end zone from 35 yards out. Touchdown to Watson. And it's a 7-0 game, Denver.
All they've done is throw the ball, though. Eventually, they're going to have to run to control the line of scrimmage here.
John Jones left a little early.
I told you those guys in the striped shirts they're going to be a godsend today.
These guys don't like each other. There's no pretense about that.
None whatsoever. Of course, it's a plus, too, that they know each other so well.
False start. Number 63, 5 yards.
That's Cooper.
We might not be done here after 4 quarters of play. The last 3 meetings of Denver and the Raiders has gone to overtime. Chris Barr ended both games last year with field goals. Victories for Los Angeles.
That's Rulon Jones on the sideline. He got hit in the ribs, and he's putting on a rib cage cover. Everybody wants to play in this game.
2nd and 29 with the ball's position now for Denver. Broncos lead first quarter 7-0. Pitch to Sewell. Again, good Raider defense. Linebacker Jeff Barnes, 56, came across and made the stop along with Sam Seal. Now, let's take a look. The Cleveland Browns are closing things up at Soldier Field in Chicago. Time left, and they're very close to the world champion Bears. And finals in, we'll be updating all the scores every 10 minutes. The 10-minute ticker on NBC Sports. 10 minutes to play, and the clock running in the first quarter here at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Watson, who caught the touchdown pass, now goes wide to the left. Vance Johnson's at the top of your screen in the slot to the left. Elway takes a look. Bang! John Elway hit hard. Sean Jones, Howie Long come bumping in along with Piquel, the nose tackle. Raiders, as they say, don't rush the quarterback, they attack him.
The thing they like, too, is you got everybody singled up there on the offensive line. Watch 71, Piquel. A good move by Cooper, and through Bryan, he actually beats 2 guys and gets a good, solid hit on John Elway. That's one of the things that has always been a trademark of the Raiders. Attack the pocket, as you said.
Now Napoleon McCallum is back at his 35. Jack Wheel, there's McCallum, ready to punt the ball for Denver. Free agent from Wyoming. Good punt by Wheel. McCallum waits at his 35. Here he comes. To the 40. To the 45, and he's cut down there. Napoleon McCallum with a 9-yard return after a 47-yard punt. Denver continues to lead 7-0. Now to NFL 86. Here's Bob Costas.
All right, Don, let's check the debut of Jim Kelly. Not a bad start. He takes the Bills in their first possession, 53 yards in 9 plays, caps it off with a 1-yarder to Greg Bell for the touchdown. And on the drive, Mr. Kelly was 3 for 3. Back to Don and Trump.
So, Jim Kelly, his impact being felt quickly in Buffalo. There's been some upsets today, more to follow in, no doubt. As right now, the Raiders trailing 7-0, go first and 10. Marcus hasn't had the ball yet. Free ball, good defense. Coming up to make the play, Mike Harden is converged. Free safety Steve Foley was also on the play as Wilson was going to Jesse Hester.
And I tell you, one of the things that the Raiders are going to have to contend with all day long is just simply identifying who is on the defensive line of scrimmage. On that particular snap, Broncos had 5 guys down. 1 dropped out. Mecklenburg, who was lined up as a linebacker, blitzed. There it is.
They did 12 times last year, but the Raiders have not won a postseason game since after the '83 season. And that proud tradition is smarting from consecutive losses the past 2 years in the opening playoff game. Wilson throws. Hester can't hold it at the 47-yard line. One interesting aspect of the Raiders, Trump, is the veterans they cut. About 11 or 12 veterans either retired or were waived, and Raiders were pointing out that there's 125 years of experience that left the team. They've gone with a lot younger people. Al Davis said before the game, I don't know if we're ready yet this early to come into Denver, but we have to be.
Those names, Cliff Branch, Lyle Alzado, Dave Dalby, all veterans, all leaders. There's a veteran, too. Jim Plunkett standing right behind Tom Flores. Wilson's not had much time so far in this first quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another 7 defensive back set, Don.
Wilson stands in, throws, and it looks completed to Hester. No, they ruled he did not have possession of the ball. And so the Raiders again go 3 downs and out on offense, and they'll have to punt the ball.
They've given him a different look on every single snap. Now watch Wilson look around the field. He's looking to his right, to his left, across the middle. I got to throw underneath, he says. 49, Dennis Smith making the tackle, playing this game with a broken collarbone. I want him in my foxhole. I do. I really do.
He actually does have a fractured bone in his shoulder. It's not the clavicle. It's up a smaller bone, but still it's a broken bone. He's playing with it. Ray Guy hits a long punt downfield. Will Height will take the ball at his 12. Free ball. I don't know. Raiders had it for a moment. Looked like Denver. The Raiders come up with the ball. So the first turnover goes to Los Angeles. 16-yard return, but an empty basket when he got there. And so Stephon Adams coming up with the ball, and the Raiders go on offense in the Denver end.
Last week, Broncos had all kinds of turnovers. Last year, they had just 8 fumbles lost, which led the NFL. That was a pretty strong hit, but Stephon Adams underneath the pile, they're able to get his hands on it. And now Raiders with great field position here. Let's see if we see Marcus Allen here in this series.
Marcus Allen, first carry, and Marcus Allen fighting hard, gets inside the 25-yard line.
This is one guy the Denver Broncos have to stop. In 2 games last year, gained over 300 yards. That's key on Carl Mecklenburg, 77. Overruns the play a little bit. Good block by Kurt Marsh. And Allen, even though he's tall and lanky, a very powerful running back. Here's Mr. Mecklenburg, who will play anywhere but strong safety and weak safety for the Denver Broncos.
Raiders trailing 7-0 first quarter, but now trying to capitalize after the fumble recovery. Marcus Allen turns the corner. Free ball. Raiders get it. Got about 4 extra yards as Allen was hit hard from behind, but Mike Harden couldn't get to the ball before it went out.
Now we got a rule change, and the rule change will be that the ball goes back to the spot where Marcus Allen fumbled it. It used to be that you could gain yards on the fumble, but this goes back. Hundley misses the tackle. That's Foley making the hit. Hundley on the cleanup. At the point where he fumbles it, that's where the ball is placed. 3rd down and about 4, maybe 5. Rule change in the NFL this year.
now third down comes up. Mark Wilson has thrown the ball 4 times. He has yet to complete a pass. 7:53 to go first quarter. Hawkins and Allen, the setbacks for the Raiders. Marcus Allen heading for the end zone. He's going in. 24 yards and a touchdown as the Raiders come back quickly. Get the fumble recovery and go in. Wilson's first completion for a touchdown.
The coverage was by Mecklenburg, and as gifted an athlete as Carl Mecklenburg is, he can't keep up with Marcus Allen. He just can't. Allen ran a very simple pattern out of the offensive backfield. Just a circle route. Made a good move to the outside. Mecklenburg couldn't keep up. Hey, what a great athlete this kid is. He's now scored 59 career touchdowns in 58 career NFL games.
Coming off an MVP season, the football writers voted him the player of the year as he rushed for almost 1,800 yards.
We'll watch this from behind the defense. Allen will come from the left of the picture. There's Christensen, 46, clearing out. Look at the distance. Just an excellent move by Marcus Allen. And into the end zone.
Allen, a much better conditioned athlete even than a season ago with his new off-season conditioning program. He's involved in the martial arts. Feels it's made him stronger, quicker, more flexible.
Let's see if we can see the move. No, it's going to be to the right of the picture. You can't really see the move he puts on Mecklenburg. But when you run a 5-yard pattern and you got a 3-yard cushion, you know you laid a good move on the guy.
So Wilson to Marcus Allen takes a lot of the enthusiasm out of sold-out Mile High Stadium, a stadium that incidentally is now in the beginning its 17th consecutive year of sellouts. Dan Reeves, the winningest coach in Bronco history in his 6th season as the head man at Denver. I asked him before the game how he felt about so many people picking Denver as the team that's going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Well, he said, we are a good team. He said, I don't know if we're that good. He said, we didn't even win a division last year, but they did come just 1 game away.
Well, they are playing in the toughest division in the NFL. Collectively, the teams in the AFC West last year, 43-35. And none of the teams in the AFC West this year have easy schedules.
Now they've got to go and play a lot of NFC East teams. Elway is 5 of 6 throwing the ball for 71 yards and a touchdown. Gene Lang, they've kicked away from Vance Johnson, but Lang does nicely, and there's also a penalty marker down at the Raider end. Somebody might have been across the line early before the ball was hit. Trey Junkin is the man who came down to make the tackle, but in all probability, if it's against the Broncos or against the Raiders, Denver will take the ball where they got it.
Sure. My philosophy is always make them run that 40 or 45 or 50-yard sprint again. Take your chances. Tire them out a little bit. Most teams now.
Offside on the kickoff. Number 94. Re-kick, 5 yards.
Now the 10-minute ticker, a look at the scoreboard on opening day 1986.
Your attention, please. John.
It just ended. Chicago Bears beat the Cleveland Browns in an unusually high-scoring game for a strong defensive team. Both are really good defensively. Game's in progress. The Jets have come back to tie up Buffalo. This game, of course, tied. San Diego out in front 10-0 over the Dolphins. New England with a 3-0 lead on the Colts. Kansas City out to a 7-0 advantage on the Bengals and the Steelers, and Seattle scoreless at the Kingdome.
Well, as I was mentioning, you always make them kick the ball off again, mainly because you might find some guys who are starting on the defense who, after 2 50-yard sprints, then you try to run a pattern against those guys. So if you can get them winded a little bit, because this is the visiting team up in this altitude, I don't think physically it makes much difference, but psychologically it might. It's a slight advantage, but in a game where 2 teams are so close, it might make the difference.
Headed to the big winners here. Denver with 24 wins the last 2 seasons. They were 13-3 2 years ago, then 11-5, and the Raiders, of course, are coming in as defending AFC West champions. Hard hit ball by Chris Barr. Held down the ball in the end zone, and the Broncos will now start from their 20 in this tie game 7-7 with 7:15 to play in the first quarter. John Elway off to a hot start. He's been throwing the ball very well. 5 of 6, good for 71 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked very hard, though, once in the first quarter. Bounced right up. John Elway, not without injury problems. He's had arthroscopic knee surgery after the past 2 seasons, but very minor surgery, and he might be the best running quarterback in the National Football League. He led the AFC quarterbacks in rushing a year ago. This is the first run of the game for the Denver Broncos. They've been all passes, and Gerald Wilhite takes it out to the 26-yard line. He got 6. Nat Millen and Van McElroy knocked him down.
You'll see the Denver Broncos do an awful lot of changing of personnel offensively. It seems that when Sewell and with Wilhite come into the ball game.
We'd like to welcome all of you who've been watching the Chicago Bears and the Cleveland Browns in that high-scoring game at Soldier Field. This is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Mile High Stadium in Denver. The Broncos scored first in a 35-yard touchdown pass by Elway, but the Raiders came right back. Marcus Allen on the receiving end of a touchdown throw. It's a 7-7 game in the first quarter. Elway throwing long for Wilhite. Intercepted by Mark Haynes. And Mike Haynes, the guy who's been to the Pro Bowl 8 of his 10 years, now they really was out of bounds, did not have possession of the ball.
Oh, that's a chancy play to take. This early in the ball game, you throw it back across the field. Wilhite was open, but Haynes was not fooled. Same roll right. It's to Wilhite all the way. That's one of the few times I think I've ever seen the Los Angeles Raiders in something other than man-to-man. And that's right. Ball bobbled. Second foot did not come down. Long incompletion. 3rd and about 3.
So Elway sets in the shotgun. Watson and Vance Johnson are to the left, to the top of your screen. Wilhite coming out of the backfield, can't hold on, and now Howie Long takes a swing at an offensive line for the Broncos.
Long can not only
he never stopped.
He can not only beat him with the pass rush, but he can turn the phrase on him too.
Billy Bryan's been in the middle of some stuff. A very strong center for the Denver Broncos. Now the Raider defense slows the Denver passing game, and Napoleon McCallum is back again to return the punt. Standing at his 32. There's Jack Wheel ready to punt the ball for Denver. .6:24 to play in the first quarter, and the game is tied. Well hit ball by the free agent, Jack Wheel. McCallum from his 22. Penalty markers down at the 35. Might have been a clip as McCallum rips one up the middle for a big gainer on the return. A 20-yard return after a 52-yard punt.
I think we're going to have a clip or a blocking in the back, an illegal push. Something along those lines against the Raiders. It'll go from the spot of the foul. I think they're going to call it on Jamie Kimmel, number 59 of the Los Angeles Raiders.
A lot of fellas on the ship cheering. The SS
Peleliu.
3,000 men on that ship.
Block. Number
Not a
59
boat.
on the return. 10 yards, first down.
Not a floor either, right?
No, it's a deck.
Former Navy man Bob Trumpy. We'll be back with the score tied 7-7.
This buzz for all that you do.
They said this city was through. You said, no way.
Each day the spirit's growing. Your pride is really showing. You make America work, and this buzz for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This buzz for you.
Welcome to the auto show.
We need an inexpensive,
Dependable.
first car. See the Yugo.
I need a tough little car.
See the Yugo. We need a safe
Economical
second car. Oh, see the Yugo.
For most of the reasons you need a car, the Yugo is all the car you need.
Wow, $39.90.
Maybe you don't want to spend more than $39.90 for a new car, but until now you've had to. Everybody needs a Yugo sometime. Yugo, $39.90.
Starting September 1st, American Express is changing the way America shops. There's something special going on in stores across the country. A brand new service from American Express. Announcing Buyer's Assurance. It doubles the repair period of the manufacturer's warranty. Doubles it up to an extra year. All you have to do is use the American Express card. Any place in the country till the end of the year. Now, why would you shop with anything else?
Down Crickey with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. Broncos starting fast, getting the first touchdown, a 7-0 lead. And now the Raider defense has come into play a lot more.
And the thing that surprised me is neither team has run the ball. I mean, the Denver Broncos, I think, have one rush. The Raiders have one rush. That was Hawkins, the first play of the game. And the rest has been throwing the ball. Both these teams, Denver has to run. The Los Angeles Raiders certainly can run, but they're going with a pass.
Raiders set to go. First down and 10 at the 25-yard line. Swing. Marcus Allen in open field. And he gets to the 31-yard line. Last time he had the ball, you remember, he finished the play, a 24-yarder, all told, into the end zone for the tying touchdown.
Jim Ryan made the tackle, but you're going to see 52 Ken Woodard just to the right of your screen drop out. You see him right there in front of you? He's got the coverage on Marcus Allen. He drops way off there. That allows Wilson the opportunity to get the ball to Marcus Allen, and a 2-yard completion to Marcus Allen, he can turn into a 70-yard gain. Woodard's got to stay tighter than that.
Marcus Allen in his 5th year, the former Heisman Trophy winner from Southern California. Now he's starting to get a lot of work, and Allen dives across the 30. Had a career game in one of the wins over the Broncos last season when he gained 173 yards and had a 61-yard touchdown run in that game. A reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. .59 to play, clock running first quarter. Denver 7, Los Angeles Raiders 7. Don Mospar in for the now retired Dave Dalby at center. A huge end-to-end offensive line of the Los Angeles Raiders, and now there's a timeout called for, so we'll be back after Mark Wilson gets some counsel.
You're looking at the fastest-selling European import in its introductory year. You're looking at a car with performance features like front-wheel drive and rack and pinion steering. You're looking at a car that's comfortable and fun to drive. You're looking at a car that costs $39.90. You're looking at a Yugo. For a closer look, call 1-800-USA-YUGO or the dealer nearest you. Yugo, $39.90.
Aha. There's a thief in this attic. This skimpy amount of insulation can rob you blind on your fuel bill.
Fight back with the attic blanket from Owens Corning. It's the thickest, most powerful roll of pink insulation you can add. It can help you save money on your fuel bill.
It is an open and shut case.
Owens Corning. We put your house in the pink.
You might be able to make it on your old antifreeze another year, but then again, you just might find yourself left out in the cold. Driving just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze can cause freeze-up and make a radiator look this bad, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. So, for maximum protection, don't push your luck. Change it once a year, every year, with fresh Prestone.
An American tradition continues. In 1978, it was dubbed the modern-day shot heard round the world. Bucky Dent's 3-run homer helped clinch one of baseball's greatest comeback seasons. Next Saturday, the intense rivalry continues as the Yankees host the Red Sox or the Reds meet the Dodgers. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
A check of the 10-minute ticker shows the Chargers are out quickly at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium with a surprising 17-0 lead over the favored Miami Dolphins. Dolphins win as a slight favorite of that game. The rest of the scoreboard will be updating all the scores every 10 minutes on NBC Sports. Right now, with the Raiders and the Broncos tied at 7-7, here's a third down throw by Wilson. Man is open. Dokie Williams, the sprinter from UCLA. They get him before he goes the distance, but Dokie Williams has the Raiders down close again. 54 yards, a straight fly. He just beat the corner.
Don, we'll watch on the telestrator what happens here. Let's identify some people. You got Williams coming in motion. Look at the defensive backs that you can see. 1, 2, 3, and it's a total zone. What happens is Williams comes in here in motion and then back outside, and he gets lost in the shuffle. He's wide open for Mark Wilson to find him down the field. Watch what happens. Here's C. Williams. Now he goes back outside. He's lost. It looks like Dennis Smith got scraped off. He had the coverage. Big play, Los Angeles Raiders.
For the Raiders with a 54-yard gainer. Now down as Mark Wilson has to get it away. He does, and it's caught by Christensen, and he's in. And the Raiders take the lead 13-7. Todd Christensen, the all-pro tight end who has caught 80 or more passes the last 3 years, makes his first reception of 86, a big one. And the Raiders, down at the outset, 7-0 now, look for a 14-7 lead. The extra point getting up.
Does a great job from behind the offense. There's Rick Hundley, 98, trying to reach for it. Christensen grabs that ball. That's a good hard hit by Louis Wright, but Christensen able to get in the end zone. Big play again by the Raiders. That's 2 big plays in a row, and they're on the board.
Here's Chris Barr out now to try the point after for Los Angeles. It's on the way and good. And so with 4:29 to go in the first quarter, the proud Raiders come back quickly after trailing 7-0. They have a 14-7 lead. Raider kickoff in a moment.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
I bought my Yugo because now I can afford a brand new car.
I think it's fun to drive, and it beats my old car pool.
I like the rack and pinion steering and the front wheel drive.
We wanted a dependable second car.
And this Yugo's just what we need.
See the car you need at the price you want. $39.90. Call 1-800-USA-YUGO for the dealer nearest you.
Everybody needs a Yugo sometime.
Yugo, $39.90.
When you need tools, any kind of tools, for every kind of job, one place and one name give you more good choices than anywhere else. Sears and Craftsman. For your life, Sears.
Life is full of changes, and State Farm is there.
I'm State Farm Agent George Palmy. If your family's like mine, you'll find reminders of how fast things change. Wasn't so long ago, my daughter Jill was riding in this. Now she drives this. Look around you. If you see your insurance needs have changed, auto, home, life, or health, see your State Farm agent for a family insurance checkup. The advice is free.
And like a good neighbor,
and the decisions are yours.
State Farm is there.
The world's athletes are gathering in Rome. The IAAF Grand Prix final. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports.
The much-maligned Mark Wilson on target, and here's his second touchdown throw of the day.
Don, the reason this works, I don't think 5 times in Mark Wilson's Los Angeles Raider career has he rolled out. It surprised the Denver Bronco defense a great deal. Christensen was wide open in the end zone. It's an easy score for the Raiders.
Used all 223 pounds, did Todd Christensen, to break the final crust, as Wilson pleased at the start. And well, he should be after the Raiders fell behind 7-0. Now Barr will kick off. They've been kicking it away from the sprinter, Vance Johnson. Now they're kicking it to the near side. They switch return men. And again, it goes to Gene Lang, though, because Barr looked at him and right to him. There's a big league stick by Strahan, the running back from Boston College, down on special teams to stuff Gene Lang, and a penalty marker down.
This Denver Bronco team is not a team with a lot of rookies. Kind of surprising we've had that many penalties on both ball clubs of leaving early on a punt, offsides on a kickoff, and illegal blocks behind the back.
Illegal block, number 88, half the distance to the goal line, first down.
It's interesting, when the Denver Broncos have beaten the Raiders, they've had some success running the ball. They've got to establish some run because Elway's passing has been slowed since the beginning drive. when he went right through Los Angeles. Last year, passing was 2/3 of the Denver offense. No backs in the regular season got 100 yards against the Raiders. They're tough to run against. But Denver's going to have to start getting some. Now they try with Sammy Winder. He gets nothing. Shut down at the 10.
Interesting choice. They call a draw play on 1st and 10 at their own 10-yard line. Sean Jones makes the tackle. Howie Long comes up with the football. See, they set up for a draw, apparently thinking because they pass so much that the Los Angeles Raiders are going to think pass all the way. What's going to happen, Don, is if they don't begin to run the ball effectively, the Raiders are going to line up 9 guys at the line of scrimmage and dare you to throw the football.
Right. They got big people up front now. Townsend's in the game to pass rush. Going with 4 down linemen. Cornerbacks up tight. Here's Elway with a sprint out. Loops the ball. And tipped away. Nicely done by Townsend, the defensive end, 93. Got a finger on the ball. And so the Broncos, who started fast now, find themselves in trouble with 3rd down and 9 coming up. They don't convert here. They're going to give the Raiders field position on the punt.
And with 65 sacks last year by the Los Angeles Raiders, if you're Dan Reeves, you don't want your team in an awful lot of 3rd down and 9 situations.
Rulon Jones, the fine defensive end, the Pro Bowler for the Denver Broncos, has been taken to the locker room for x-rays. Banged up some ribs early in the game. 3:31 to play in the first quarter. It's 14-7 Raiders.
That's on the offense. That's Mark Cooper, number 63.
A new starter in for the veteran Paul Howard at right guard.
He's across from Pical, who led the Raiders in sacks last year. All he's trying for is just a little edge, but from an up position, that's almost senseless. I mean, you're right where you want to start pass protection. There's no reason to break out.
Raiders pin those ears back, and here they come, snorting fire. 3rd down and 14, and Elway will be throwing from his end zone. If he can.
Whoa. That's a safety.
Yep, safety it is.
There's no way Elway can win that. He either steps on the back line, or if he has an intentional grounding to avoid a sack, both are safeties. 2 points. 2 points Raiders. And the Broncos, watch the move on 63. Watch Long. Throws, absolutely throws Mark Cooper out of the way. Townsend there, too. It's not working for the Denver Broncos.
America, this is the big one from General Motors. The big one with 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing. That's 2.9 on all new 1986 GM cars and most light-duty trucks. Like the finance contract is limited, or choose rebates up to $1,500 depending on make or model. We're out to move over 1 million vehicles. Act now. The big one from General Motors ends October 8th. This is the one you've been waiting for.
Hey, Pete. Going to town with us? Nah, go ahead. But you had a little trouble. We can take care of it.
A day off is something real special, but so's a good neighbor.
Going into town with us, Pete?
Busch. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream. For a taste as smooth as its name. Busch.
Head for Busch beer.
Head for the mountains. To know no boundaries. To let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, Merrill Lynch is there with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
Giving your best effort every time is the mark of a true champion. Don't let anything stop you from becoming the best that you can be. Say no to drugs and yes to a whole lot more.
From behind the defense, Townsend out here makes the sack, folks, but watch this body slam. This is Howie Long on Mark Cooper. Watch this arm. Ooh, get out of here. Right in Elway's face. And here's the ruling. He either steps on the back line, if so, that's a safety. And intentionally grounding the ball in the end zone is also a safety. 2 points for the Raiders, and Denver must punt.
So it was a stadium in celebration early in this game after the Broncos scored the first time they had the ball, has now become deafening in its silence as the Raiders have come back to take a 16-7 lead. The Broncos unable to run against Los Angeles, and the Raider pass rush has begun to dominate this game. Napoleon McCallum, the rookie from the Naval Academy, ready to return the kickoff. The free kick. Jack Wheel, the punter's in. You have the option of placing the ball or punting it on the free kick after a safety. And here's the well-hit ball downfield to the 15-yard line. McCallum, he's big, takes on tacklers, and gets to the 38-yard line. As we look at the scoreboard on the 10-minute ticker. Jets and Buffalo still tied. Marino's just thrown a touchdown pass. Miami gets a first score after trailing 17-0 at San Diego. New England starting fast. Syosson just threw a touchdown pass to Collinsworth for the Bengals. They've tied Kansas City. Pittsburgh and Seattle hitting people and not scoring at the Kingdome. Mark Wilson with 2 touchdown throws to the Raiders comes up. The Denver fans start up. Marcus Allen runs ahead for 6 yards. He gets out to the 43-yard line. Art McNally, the head of NFL officials, is here, and the official call on the safety from down on the field was that John Elway's foot hit the back line. An automatic safety. It was not intentional grounding. Either way, it was 2 points for the Raiders in the subsequent free kick possession. Now they have the ball, second down and about 4. Mecklenburg gets to the quarterback, but just a moment late. The referee, Jim Tunney, right on top of quarterback Mark Wilson. The number 1 assignment of a National Football League referee, no matter what else you hear, is to protect the quarterback. That is his number 1 assignment.
Here you see 77 Carl Mecklenburg lines up in a variety of positions. That time a stand-up pass rusher. Last year, Joe Collier was just drawing in the dirt, things for Mecklenburg to do. This summer in training camp, they designed a whole series of things for him to do. You'll find him everywhere on that defensive line.
Now the Raiders go third down and just under 5 for the first down. They lead 16-7 late in the first quarter. Throw and a strike. Todd Christensen's ahead for a Raider first down to the 44-yard line of Denver. 12-yard gain. Christensen, who the last 3 years has caught 82, 80, and 92 passes. You see his average. Gets ahead for first. He hand fights those defensive backs and gets rid of them.
He wanted to make sure you knew how much he weighed, too, didn't he?
Yeah, we said he weighed 245 last year. He said that was because of the rib pads. I look like I weighed 245.
Weighs 223 and is a downfield receiver. That big body, when he turns around, those 2 defensive backs in zone coverage couldn't go over him without interference. Easy 12-yard pickup.
First down Raiders inside the 45-yard line of the Broncos. Marcus Allen breaks the crust and rockets down to the 33-yard line. He gets 11 and a first down for the Raiders.
Todd Christensen almost made the tackle there. New player for the Denver Broncos defense, 98, Rick Hundley. You see him going there. Christensen gets a block on him, but watch what happens. Christensen almost puts Marcus Allen to the ground. Hundley there. Not a plus on the play. That has to be graded a minus by Joe Collier.
Henry Lawrence, the right tackle. Mickey Marvin, the right guard. Don Mostar, the center, blowing people out. Raiders winning at the line of scrimmage on offense. Allen. Bronco defense comes up to shut him down at the 31-yard line.
Don, you notice that the Los Angeles Raiders, when they run behind Marvin and Lawrence to the right, and they're running at Carter, 68, 75 Rulon Jones, and 98 Rick Hundley. I don't blame them for running behind Marvin and Lawrence. I'm kind of surprised that Rulon Jones and Hundley have not done a better job stopping the run.
With Peyton, 9 straight regular season games, 100 or more yards. He's going for a 10th today. Big rush. Long ball. Good coverage by the Denver Broncos. Louis Wright, 5 times a Pro Bowler, trying to cover and doing it well against Dokie Williams. Walking the dog, they call it. Step for step. Right with him.
Denver that time with the blitz. Allen, most valuable player in the league last year. All those rushing yards. Put on a spectacular block on Carl Mecklenburg that time. But he can certainly do his job, whether it's run, catch, or block.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. 21 seconds to go, first quarter. Marcus Allen again hits off the right side. And again, his offensive line gives him the thrust he needs to get ahead for yards, and it brings up now 4th down and about 4.
Number 46 for the Los Angeles Raiders, Todd Christensen, primarily a pass receiver, but when asked to, can get the job done blocking. Basically, all you got to do is get in their way. And Christensen done a pretty good job as the first quarter ends.
Mark Wilson, after missing his first 4 throws, hit his next 4, 2 for touchdowns. The following is sponsored by the U.S. Army.
No words could repair this running back's shattered knee.
Please don't give me your words of wisdom or your advice about what I should do, what I shouldn't do.
The Achievers, those who face adversity and refuse to fail. Brought to you by the U.S. Army. When Kurt Warner's knee exploded, many thought he was through. But months of agonizing therapy has Kurt Warner back in all-pro form.
It's not going to be easy. There are going to be days when you're not going to feel like doing it. There are going to be days when you don't want to do it. But I decided to work. I think that's the most important thing.
Hey, that was a great answer. Where'd you learn about computers?
In the Army.
You were in the Army?
Yeah.
And now they're helping pay your way through college.
How come you know so much?
How do you think I got here?
Qualify for the GI Bill and the Army College Fund and earn $17,000 for college for only a 2-year enlistment, or $25,200 for a 4-year enlistment.
What you doing here?
Airborne.
You were airborne?
Find your future in the Army.
You used to jump out of airplanes?
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. First quarter stats, the Denver Broncos with just 7 yards rushing. Bottom line numbers, though, a dominance for the Raiders after they fell behind 7-0. They now lead this game 16-7. Now we have a moment. Let's go to NFL 86 in New York. Bob?
Don, San Diego jumped in front of Miami 17-0 at the end of 1 in San Diego. Then Dan Marino got it going. He fires this one 22 yards to Mark Clayton for the touchdown. So the Dolphins are back in business. They trail by 10 in the second.
Thank you, Bob. As right now we have a 16-7 count on the board at the outset of the second quarter here at the Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. 121 consecutive sellouts. Chris Barr ready to kick the ball, try the long field goal. It'll be a 43-yarder. Did not have good success long range last season, but he wins a lot of games when it comes down to the final kick. This time he drills it, puts the hook on it just right. Just like the Raiders like it, and they extend their lead to 19-7. We'll be back with the Los Angeles kickoff after this.
Here they lie, the family sedans of the past. Bulky, boxy, portraits in obsolescence. But one performance sedan has refused to join these relics. The Dodge Lancer. Sleek lines, advanced interior, front-wheel drive, all at an affordable price. The Lancer is making history instead of becoming part of it. Dodge setting new standards of performance.
America rides Monroe. America rides Monroe. On the road, the way to go. America rides Monroe.
More people ride Monroe shocks and struts than any other brand. And right now, get up to $20 in rebates. Get $2 back on each Monroe Matic Plus. And $5 back on each Gas Magnum or Gas Matic. They'll give you the best ride ever, guaranteed.
On the road, the way to go. America rides Monroe.
Thank you for calling Bob's.
I need my VCR fixed.
Please direct any service questions directly to our distributor in Indonesia.
Got any trees?
With many audio and video products, good luck finding good service. But at Curtis Mathis Home Entertainment Centers, we promise you quick response and dependable service. You see, our terrific audio and video products aren't the only reasons it's worth coming to Curtis Mathis. Curtis Mathis, is it really worth it to go anywhere else?
Today's game is brought to you by America's Best Back Trucks. At Dodge, we don't just talk tough, we prove it. By Radio Shack, a division of the Tandy Corporation. And by Wheaties, 100% whole wheat for energy to feel like a champion. Wheaties, what the big boys eat.
Big boys from Los Angeles have been getting it done. They have scored on their last 3 possessions plus a safety. The Raiders leading 19-7. As we look at the 10-minute ticker, Jets and Buffalo still tied. San Diego continues to hold to a 10-point lead on Miami. New England now the 10-3 lead over Indianapolis. Colts get a field goal. And the other 2 scores have not changed since our last ticker look. Right now, Chris Barr hits a high-spinning kickoff downfield. Here comes Vance Johnson. He finally gets a kickoff. The super-fast Denver Bronco crosses the 20, dives out to the 22-yard line. Running back at University of Arizona, drafted in the 2nd round a season ago.
On last replay we showed was Mark Cooper being manhandled by Howie Long. Now Paul Howard, number 60, is in at right guard for the Denver Broncos.
Big boys from California not giving up a thing on defense, and Elway has to find a way to get the big play. They're going with a one-back set. They're going to be throwing. Raiders coming up to meet it. Linebackers up tight. Elway gets time, swings it out to Sammy Winder. Loses Mike Haynes for the moment, and Winder gets ahead for maybe 7 yards. I don't know if you can just drop back every time and beat the Raiders when you're this far behind.
I don't believe you can. Well, let's watch the protection. Paul Howard, the veteran on that offensive line, he does a good job handling Howie Long. I have a feeling he's going to be in there for the rest of the day. His uniform is going to get dirty.
Raider defensive front 3, Longs from Villanova. They dropped football recently, picked it up again. Pickell's from Rutgers. Jones is from Northeastern. Not big-name football schools, but super big-name players. Here's a long ball downfield. A man goes down going for the ball. Going for the ball was the tight end Clarence Kay, but there's no penalty marker down.
Stacy Turan was the man in coverage. They got their feet tangled up. In case you're wondering if the replay official will handle that, the answer is no. They'll have nothing to do with it. There's nothing called by the officials. The replay official will not get involved. And, of course, if both players are looking back at the quarterback, that's that rule change from last year. You do have a lot more what they refer to in the NFL as incidental contact. There it is.
Elway needs 3. Lead swing, well-thrown ball to Wilhite. He's got the first down and 20 more as he crosses midfield and gets to the 49-yard line of Los Angeles. 21-yard gain, a big block by center Billy Bryan.
Dan McElroy finally makes the tackle. Don, what the Broncos are doing is just using their running backs. You saw Wilhite there start right, come back left. Bryan does make an excellent block. Wilhite carrying that ball rather dangerously. But 21 yards and a first down.
So the Broncos finally break a big play. They've not had one in some time, trailing 19-7 early in the 2nd quarter. Pitch back to Winder on first down. He runs hard and gets 4. Down to the 45-yard line. Sean Jones knocked him down. A humongous defensive end at 6'7", 280. In just his 3rd year.
This young man, you got to give him a tip of the cap. Last year he gained 700 yards rushing while having an arthroscope on his knee and an appendectomy. And we know that with Dennis Smith playing with a broken collarbone today, and Sammy Winder coming back and contributing to the Broncos last year, Broncos got some tough kids out there.
They better today. Now 2nd down and 6 for the Broncos.
Pass.
Sewell takes a look. Turns the corner on Turan, who gets him and gets ahead for maybe a yard or 2. And now a penalty marker comes in after the play. Might be a late hit.
Reggie McKenzie. Yeah, it looked to me like Sewell was going to throw that ball.
To me too, yeah.
When he took
he
it,
can throw it.
It's against the Raiders. Late hit.
Tom Flores looking on.
Watch when he gets this ball on the pitch. He's looking upfield.
Like a clip, too, on...
Personal foul. Unnecessary.
Rod Martin was taken out.
54. 15 yards.
But the call goes against the Raiders. Down to the 28-yard line. Denver needs a score here. They'll be right back in it. They're down 19-7 at the moment.
Penalty on Reggie McKenzie. Late hit. Officials trying to keep control of this football game.
A well-spent 11th-round draft choice a year ago, Reggie McKenzie. Raiders are going to lose their top 2 picks this year for the season. Bukowski and Cochran, both with back problems, need surgery. Winder. Jerry Robinson hems him in, and Rod Martin finishes him off. Veteran from UCLA, Jerry Robinson coming from the left outside, Rod Martin from Southern California from the right outside, and they close him down for a loss.
Along with that stat, something you said earlier, Don, the Raiders did not allow any running back to gain 100 yards rushing last year. That's a heck of an accomplishment.
Greg James
regular season, that's a heck of an accomplishment.
It is unseasonably cool in the Mile High City. Temperature in the 50s today, and now there seems to be a distinct threat of rain. It's become an overcast day. As the Broncos come up with second down, and John Elway's right arm has to get him 17 here. Or some of that anyway. Elway eludes the rush, gets the ball away to Johnson. Tries to put on a hook move, and he's cut down at the 23-yard line. It'll bring up third and about 7. Elway's quick feet saved him from the pass rush, and then Vance Johnson got the ball.
Does an excellent job of getting away from Sammy Seal. Once again, he uses that move. And you can see these receivers, when John Elway rolls left, the receivers go with him. Something that all coaches teach receivers so that there is someone for the quarterback to throw to. Elway did an excellent job of avoiding the rush on that particular play, too. Greg Townsend was all over him.
Vance Johnson to the near side, lower portion of your screen on this 3rd and 6th play. He's against Mike Haynes. To Sewell, he's looking to throw. Elway's going out.
He's thrown a lot. This is the first time he's ever caught one in the NFL.
So,
not particularly well thrown by Sewell. Don, the point to make is, though, it's 6 points, but that's a trick play. You only got about 4 of those a game in the book. You can't come with many more.
Look just like they drew it up, and here is the extra point by Powers, and the Broncos are back in the game. It's 19-14 with 11:57 to play in the first half. That's happening at Denver, and we'll be back.
You're about to go down a road you've never been down before. Behind the wheel of a truck you've never seen. It's new from Dodge. It's called Dakota. Claiming the ground between the heart of a full-size and the soul of a compact. It's the first true mid-size pickup ever made. With an available 3.9-liter V6, there's plenty of thunder under the hood. Inside, room for 3. Outside, an optional 8-foot bed carries a full-size load. The new mid-size Dakota. Climb aboard. Cross into Dakota territory. Dodge Dakota. The new state of the American truck.
Managing information means storing it, finding it, and moving it from A to B. When that meant linking 800 miles of Alaskan pipeline, they called Contel. When it meant matching orders to inventory at the Stoneham Lumber Company, they called Contel. Small business or tall order, Contel can help you manage information better, too. For Contel, I'm Charlton Heston.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Raiders battle the Redskins.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
The Broncos just went deep into their bag of tricks and came up with a winner.
Well, trick plays do two things for you. One, they win you games. Two, they get you back into games. Look at the guy in coverage. 99, Sean Jones, the defensive end. But you got to establish something. That's the last page of the playbook.
As we look at the 10-minute ticker, San Diego gets another touchdown against Miami. And Seattle's on the board at the Kingdom with a 6-0 lead on the Steelers. Now Rich Carlos ready to kick it off. It's a high spinning kick. Von Adams will run it back. Oh, he gets hit and hard. Coming downfield to stick him was Ken Woodard, linebacker. And the Raiders go on offense. Their once 19-7 lead now cut to 5. Here are the finals from earlier. Chicago Bears in a shootout with the Cleveland Browns at Soldier Field. Bears a winner. Buddy Ryan's debut for Philadelphia, not a happy one at Washington. Houston, an underdog, blew out the Packers at Green Bay. And Detroit upset the Vikings at Minneapolis. The Foot Thunder starts again. A couple of more finals. Atlanta, an upset winner at New Orleans, and the 49ers took apart the Buccaneers.
Broncos defense thinking turnover right here, Don. Thinking turnover.
Tough to call signals. Intense noise as the handoff goes to Marcus Allen. He breaks free for the moment. And that is knocked down after a gain of a couple of yards. The trick play with Sewell throwing to Elway for the touchdown has brought back to life to the Denver fans.
Watch 77. Carl Mecklenburg gets turned by Christensen. Whoops, who's that? Oh, that's the ball carrier. Dennis Smith on the assist. Historically, the Denver Broncos defense has been a big emotional establisher for this football team. Right now, knowing that the offense is struggling, they're in there looking for a turnover.
Blitz, they pick it up. Swing pass, Marcus Allen in open field. And Allen is all the way out to midfield for the Raiders. He has a first down, a 25-yard gain.
Excellent job by Mark Wilson. Saw the blitz, and at times you're going to have someone not picked up. Christensen releases. His offensive line does an outstanding job, and that's not a bad outlet receiver right there. Get it to him. That's a pass for about 5 yards and a gain of almost 30.
The rookie's in motion as Hawkins gets the carry, and he hits hard into the right side of the Denver defense and gets close to the Bronco 47-yard line. Our producer today for NBC Sports is George Finkel. Our director, Richard Klein. Executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman, as we're down to 10 minutes to play in the first half. The Raiders scored first on a 35-yard touchdown throw, Elway to Watson. Then the Raiders came storming back. 2 touchdown passes by Mark Wilson. A safety. Elway stepped on the back of the end zone. It was 19-7 Los Angeles. Now it's 19-14. A throw and on. Nearly an interception. But Mike Harden can't go on. They were going to the rookie, Rod Barksdale, who never played high school or never played college football. He was a track All-American at Arizona, wrote a letter to the Raiders, made the team after a very fine showing in the preseason.
In that letter, he mentioned his times in the 40. He was a track teammate of Vance Johnson of the Denver Broncos, and his times were, they sounded like they were all downhill, under 4.4.
He can catch it also. They're going to be going to him deep before long. Rod Barksdale at the top of your screen. They'll be looking at him long before long. Wilson takes a look. He throws, and the ball is caught by Christensen down to the 32-yard line of the Broncos. Todd Christensen coming underneath the coverage as Barksdale went deep, and so did Dokie Williams.
15-yard reception. Watch him fight his way through all this traffic. Barksdale is clearing out. Harden, the man in coverage. Excellent adjustment to the ball. Thrown behind Christensen. He and Mark Wilson been throwing and catching for a lot of years. Teammates at BYU.
So now the Raiders, after they gave up the touchdown to Denver, coming right back down the field, and they're throwing the ball very well. Mark Wilson pulling the trigger today for Los Angeles as he goes to Marcus Allen, who gets to the 28. First down carry, netted about 2 or 3. Game clock winding down to 8:50 to go in the first half. At halftime, we'll be going to NFL 86 in New York for a complete recap of the scores and the highlights of this opening day. Day with a considerable amount of upsets so far.
You watch Marcus Allen run the football. He has that ability that all great running backs do. You don't know how they do it. That time Simon Fletcher, 73, had a clear shot at Allen, hit him, didn't phase him, just kept right on running.
Wilson going deep to Doki Williams, and the coverage is good. Louis Wright, 5 times an all-pro player at cornerback, running stride for stride with Doki Williams. So now 3rd down and 8 arises for the Raiders at the 28-yard line of Denver. It's a 19-14 game Los Angeles, 8:18 to play in the first half.
We saw a shot of Mark Wilson. There he is, 11-2 last year as a starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Raiders. Only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL won more games. Dan Marino of Miami, Jim McMahon of Chicago. Not really in very good graces with the Raider fans in Los Angeles, though.
Wilson doesn't like to, but he takes off. Louis Wright came up and got him on the slide, and now with the advance down to the 24-yard line, it brings up 4th down and about 4. Chris Farr in the field goal unit comes out for Los Angeles.
Loneliest job in professional sports right there. That of a place kicker. The only guy he can sit down and talk with for a long time is a hockey goalkeeper. That's the only guy he has anything in common with.
Sometimes things work out right. The Cincinnati Bengals, your old team, cut him. Went to the Raiders. First year there, they won a Super Bowl.
They showed him, didn't they?
Again, he puts that little hook on the ball and drifts it right through. So Chris Farr's been perfect today, and the Raiders now open up a 22-14 lead, and we'll be back.
Just because you've washed your car doesn't mean you're finished. You need some Armor All on the dash, the bumper, and especially the tires. Armor All. It's the finishing touch every time you wash your car.
Leave it to the good hands, people. With so much emphasis on youth these days, it's great that Allstate appreciates the wisdom and dignity of us mature folks. We can save 10% on Allstate homeowners insurance and save on car insurance, too. But you have to be 55 and retired. So, to those youngsters who've not attained such lofty stature, a word from the wise. You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
I like your thinking. It's the solution we've been searching for. We've included networking, multi-user systems, as well as PC-compatible workstations and software. And I like your installation, support, training, service. Radio Shack computer centers have it all. I know we can do business.
Tandy Computers, only at Radio Shack. In business, for business.
This water damage is going to run $750. What would have stopped it?
Thompson's Water Seal protects wood, brick, and concrete with its special waterproofing formula. Thompson's Water Seal, a great defense against repair expense.
I'm Bryant Gumbel, live from Hollywood. A special Today at Night looks at TV's past, present, and future with guests Jackie Gleason, Bill Cosby, and much more. Join us Thursday night.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. Dan Reeves, the Denver coach, said before the game, this can't be the biggest game of the year if we got 15 to play after it, but it's pretty big.
There's no doubt about that. I think he was downplaying how important this football game is, knowing the Raiders are the Denver Broncos' biggest opponent in the division, and the fact that the Denver Broncos have been projected as a contender for the Super Bowl. Today you find out if you're contender or pretender. So far it doesn't look good for the Broncos.
Jets have now come back to take a 7-point lead on Buffalo as the kick goes downfield, and coming back hard is Gene Lang breaking to the outside. Sammy Field trying to run him down and finally gets him out of bounds at the 30. Well, the Broncos go on offense, 1st and 10, and as we look at the 10-minute ticker, let's get set to go back to New York and Bob Costas.
All right, Don, after spotting Buffalo a 7-0 lead early, the Jets have come back and they lead 14-7 after this 46-yarder from Ken O'Brien to Al Toon. A pretty play for the touchdown. The Jets by 7 in the second at Buffalo. Back to Don and Bob.
7:12 to play in the first half here at Mile High Stadium. As John Elway, you see good numbers on the board. He included in his production as a touchdown reception the last time the Broncos had the ball, and a trick play that worked. Lame duck, free ball. It falls incomplete at the 47-yard line of the Raiders.
Long right in his face. Last season, the Los Angeles Raiders began the season against the New York Jets. Sacked Ken O'Brien 10 times. The coaches of the New York Jets thought that Raider defensive line hit O'Brien probably 30 times all day long. That's what the Broncos are going to get unless they can establish some running game to keep the defensive line of the Raiders honest.
Howie Long has been a Pro Bowl starter for 3 straight years. Down his 6th year. He's the best, and he's coming hard again as penalty markers go down. They're going to get the Broncos on a holding call as Vance Johnson got the ball out to the 39-yard line and paid for it. Mike Haynes hit him hard as Vance Johnson slow to get up.
He's grabbing his knee, too.
So this standout second-year receiver, Vance Johnson, goes down and is attended to as the play will come back on a holding call.
Now watch what Denver's trying to do. Just use Johnson's foot speed. Clear the line of scrimmage to avoid the bump and run, and then outrun Mike Haynes. Let's see if we can see the injury. I believe he's grabbing his... I think he's grabbing his right knee. I don't think that's a serious injury. Luckily for the Denver Broncos,
Get used to the hands.
You can make a heck of a diagnosis from 300 yards away.
Well, I'll tell you what.
No, you've been there a lot of times.
Yeah, you have a lot of trainers leaning over you. You can tell by how things turn and how guys grab things as to whether they're serious, minor. I'll be back. Let's see the way he walks.
Dan Reeves with a protest to Jim Tunney. Now, that doesn't look too good, although he's putting weight on it. Vance Johnson coming off. They say you know it's really serious when one of the guys looking at him has a tie on.
Or the other team motions for your team doctor. Let's see if we can pick up what happened here.
Your diagnosis was right. Vance Johnson's coming right up.
I don't think that's serious. I think he kind of got his leg hyperextended slightly, but I think we'll be back. He'll be back quickly.
Major League Baseball, the regular season coming down the stretch. The Red Sox now leading by a commanding margin in the American League East. Go against the Yankees next Saturday afternoon, or it's the Reds against the Dodgers. NBC's Major League Baseball game of the week next Saturday. Clint Sampson is now in at wide receiver. He'll be going deep on a 2nd and 20. Hard throw. Mark Jackson, a rookie from Purdue, coming over the middle, gets the ball and gets out to the 32-yard line, where it'll bring up 3rd down and about 10.
Here comes Johnson back in the ball game. Jackson knows how to catch it. Caught a lot of passes from Jim Everett at Purdue. He comes out. Vance Johnson stays in the ball game.
And a lot of speculation that the Houston Oilers, who've not signed Jim Everett, who was one of the high draft picks this year, might trade him to one of the Los Angeles teams. The Raiders said they've called, but we're not interested. Rams are supposedly having some conversations. Here's Elway spinning out and gets the ball away spectacularly to Vance Johnson. Open field move and a fine tackle by Seal saved a lot of yardage, but on 3rd and long, 3rd and 10, the Broncos get a 1st down, but again, Vance Johnson is slow to get up.
That's the same leg. Watch what happens here. He's running a pattern. It looks fine. It's his right leg. Stacy Turan there. And then once again, the ability of John Elway to scramble. He throws it back across the field, makes the catch. Now watch his right leg. It looks like it just goes out from underneath him when he tries to make a move on it. Now this looks a little more serious. When your leg starts giving it away, then you're looking for the bench for a while.
Tough one for Vance Johnson
and the Broncos.
Last week in a final preseason game against the Rams, Vance caught 11 passes for 195 yards and opened up big here today. First Elway throw to him was for 21 yards, and soon after was followed by an Elway touchdown pass to Watson. But since then, the Raiders have come back strong, and right now they lead 22-14 with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to play. First half. Now the Broncos setting to run. Our formation. Here's a pitch back to Sewell. He was their #1 draft choice from Oklahoma a year ago. Cutting back, he got about 3, maybe 4, down to the 48-yard line of the Raiders. Van McElroy, the Raider free safety, tackled him. Both quarterbacks with some good numbers.
Wilson 7 of 15, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. Elway 10 of 16, 137 yards and a touchdown. And I noticed that Denver Broncos have got Mark Cooper back in the ballgame, but now he's playing left guard. Paul Howard still at right guard. Ryan at center. Bishop, Keith Bishop is the guy out of the lineup.
Draw play and a fine defensive play by the Raiders. Reading it all the way, James Davis, an extra defensive back, number 45, shot the gap and made the knockdown. Tackle on Gene Lang, and the game clock continues to run down to 4:40 to play. First half. Raiders 22, Broncos 14.
Excuse me, that was a safety blitz by the Los Angeles Raiders. He had the good luck, pure coincidence, that he blitzed right in the spot where the Denver Broncos were running the draw play. Easy tackle for Davis.
Elway needs 8 on this third down throw. Here comes the blitz, and all-out rush, an open man. Sewell's wide open. Puts a move on McElroy and gets down to the 33-yard line. He has a Bronco first down and a 17-yard gain. Blown covered. They never covered Sewell.
Tell you what, though, that's a great tackle by McElroy. If he doesn't make the tackle, it's 6 points. You see Turan. You see everybody coming up there. Piquel is untouched. Sewell, the hot receiver. McElroy makes a great tackle. I mean, somebody did blow the coverage before. That is a touchdown-saving tackle by Van McElroy. Corners of the Los Angeles Raiders, not very good tacklers. Safeties, very good tacklers. McElroy and Turan.
That's his job. Get him in the open field. Now on first down, the pitch back comes to Sammy Winder. Led the Broncos in rushing last season, working hard to get 3 against the Raider defense. Rod Mark knocks him down along with Matt Millen. Ball positioned at the 30-yard line of the Los Angeles Raiders. Raiders defeated the Broncos twice in overtime last year when the final numbers were up at season's end. The Raiders had a 12-4 record and a record in an AFC Western Championship, and despite an 11-5 finish, just 1 game off, Broncos were the first 11-game winner not to make the playoffs. We'll be checking the scoreboard after this play. Gene Lang almost got open field. He works hard and looks like he has a first down for Denver as the Broncos start to run the ball with some success as the game wears on. Now the scoreboard. San Diego and Miami putting up points down the coast of San Diego. 26-14 now. Chargers in the lead. New England continues to hold a 7-point lead. Cincinnati and Kansas City still tied, and Seattle still leading Pittsburgh 6-0. Those late starting games all at halftime. We're 2 minutes and 8 seconds from halftime here in Mile High Stadium. Mark Jackson's wide to the near side as Elway goes to the draw. Gene Lang takes it down to the 20.
Matt Millen and Paul Howard.
We're down now to the 2-minute warning. Trump, the Broncos today have 4 illegal use of hands calls.
That defensive line makes you do a lot of things.
Back after this.
Feel the power, feel the heat. Kick of energy from good whole wheat. Name is Wheat, not too sweet.
of good whole wheat. Hello, milk, turn it on. Wheat keeps you keeping on. Fulfilled all that good whole wheat. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
This year, as in years past, the United States Auto Club conducted a nationwide study to determine which leading car rental company has the best conditioned cars. Hundreds of cars were tested. Over 36,000 individual items were inspected, from brakes to ashtrays. And for the fourth time, National Car Rental beat Hertz, Avis, and Budget, hands down. National Car Rental, #1 in car condition.
Call it character. Even nobility, if you like. It should be known as the best of its kind. And most of all, a light beer should be as great as its namesake. That's why there's Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just a light.
Tom Flores, a rather remarkable statistic, a record giving high praise to Flores' talents as a coach. Only Shula has won more games over the past 7 seasons than Tom Flores, who's beginning his 8th year as head coach of the Raiders. In his 2nd year as head coach of the Raiders, they won the Super Bowl.
Very low-key coach. Kind of let the players do what they want. Just get them to the plane to travel to Denver. Make sure they show up at game time on time. Pretty much leaves the direction of the team in the hands of the veterans, and they know how to take care of themselves.
Elway and the Broncos with 1:57 to go in the first half. But I want to completion to Gene Lang in a good defensive play. Stacy Turan, the strong safety, comes up to make the stop. Greg Townsend was putting a rush on John Elway. Brings up 3rd down now for Denver as the sun is broken through.
Now, Don, so far the Raiders have done an outstanding job of rushing their defensive ends wide to keep John Elway from rolling out and just scrambling through the defense like he generally does against most teams. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that the defensive people of the Raiders reminded those defensive ends, get outside and upfield. Keep Elway in there.
Don Shula says the Raiders are the fastest team in football, and they've improved on that speed as Elway goes deep now. And it's incomplete in the end zone. No call. He was looking. Now there's a penalty marker down. Penalty marker goes down late in the end zone. Turan was covering.
Discussion is whether or not the ball can be caught. If the officials determine that the ball could not be caught, no penalty.
Pass interference, number 30.
And Matt Millen is hot.
That's why they stopped there and talked for a minute. That ball can't be caught.
Clark Kent couldn't get that one.
Neither could Manute Bol. But nevertheless, the interference penalty stands, and it's at the 1. I think that's a break for the Denver Broncos.
I think it's a big break for the Broncos, and they'll gladly accept it as the ball is down to the 1-yard line, 1st and goal. It'll be tough to go to overtime today because of that safety.
They'll figure out a way.
It's right. The last 3 times these teams haven't decided it until overtime. Over the touchdown Raiders. I thought Elway might take it himself, so he could score it by passing, running, and receiving.
And the thing that surprises me the most is these two teams have put up 42 points on the board in the first half, and the turning point was the trick play to get the Denver Broncos back in the ball game. A tight end trap by Clarence K, 88. Gene Lang with good power, stuttered number 70 with a decent block, and into the end zone.
So the Raiders on the questionable interference call in the end zone. See the Broncos go 1st and goal from the 1, and Gene Lang is in the end zone quickly. So now Carlos is on the field. Find the point after, which will bring Denver back to within 1. It's a 22-21 game. It's good.
Dodge.
salutes those who strive for victory with this edition of The Winners.
He's a complete football player. He can do it all. He's the best linebacker in the National Football League, and I don't think there's any question about it.
In Chicago, the glue that holds the Bears' defense together is linebacker Mike Singletary. In 1985, he saved his best for the playoffs as the Bears topped 2 straight shutouts with a Super Bowl win. Mike Singletary makes the Chicago Bears winners.
In the beginning of recorded history, man had an idea called a caravan. Slow and plodding, right for its time. Some years later, man had a better idea. Dodge Caravan. Efficient, versatile, and perfect for its time. With front-wheel drive and a 550 protection plan. Which is why Dodge Caravan has no equal in the civilized world. Dodge, setting new standards of performance.
The Raiders come back now after giving up the touchdown run from a yard out after the penalty call against them, ready to return the kickoff from Denver. 1:07 left to go in the first half. Raiders 22, Broncos 21.
That's an excellent drive. 6-17. A lot of different things. A couple of penalties help, especially the pass interference.
At the end of the first quarter, the Raiders had a 19-7 lead. Stephon Adams running the ball back for Los Angeles is thrown back on good special teams play by Denver. Mike Harden was down, number 31, first man to hit him, along with Ken Bell, 35.
Look at 98 there of the Denver Broncos. Rick Hundley, I think you're beginning to see a little fatigue. He's not only starting and playing most defensive plays and calling the defensive signals, but he's on the kickoff coverage. And, of course, with that big battle with Steve Busick, who was traded to the Los Angeles Rams. There's Paul Howard taking over on the offensive line. Keith Bishop is now the man out. Mark Cooper has moved to the other side.
1 minute to go in the first half. Nobody plays beat the clock like the Raiders. Let's see what they do in this final minute as they get the ball out to the 30-yard line. First down carry, good for 10. 4 new downs. Clock ticking, though, down, as you see. 45 seconds. That's the wrong clock imposed right there. Our clock stopped, but the official clock was still running. We're down to 35. Our unofficial clock just jammed for the moment there. The game clock is down to 30 seconds to play. And running.
Broncos with 6 defensive backs, Don.
Hawkins. Now the Raiders call a timeout with 18 seconds to play in the first half. So we'll be back right after this.
I'm Howie Long of the Los Angeles Raiders. My wife Diane and I are new parents. This is our new baby, Christopher, and we want the best for Christopher and for all children. That's why we're United Way volunteers. We visit the schools, we talk with the children. Hi, kids. We're here today to talk to you about the Sunrise program. There are 3,300,000 problem drinkers in the age group from 14 to 17.
That's why we're here. These children themselves are evidence that we aren't too early in starting this education to help them make important choices they'll have to face.
If we've gotten even one child not to use alcohol, then we've succeeded. More and more of us in the National Football League are joining in this fight, and it's a fight we can't afford to lose. And when you choose to help, through your support of the United Way, we can all be winners. So these kids will have a better tomorrow.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Back at Mile High Stadium, Hawkins just ran the ball for the Raiders. Got ahead for a first down, but there's only 10 seconds to play now in the first half. Raiders holding to a 22-21 lead.
Denver can't look forward to this.
Walk off. They're not going to put it in play.
Don, Denver can't look forward to this third quarter in 1985. Miserable third quarter.
They were outscored 103-39 in the third quarters in the 85 season. It cost them dearly. Rarely scored a point late in the season in the third quarter. So the Denver Broncos with Coach Dan Reeves head to the locker room, and the Raiders and Coach Flores go back in for the halftime council session with a 22-21 score on the board. The Raiders holding to a 1-point lead after they trailed 7-0, then came back to lead 19-7 over the Broncos. We'll be going to New York for NFL 86 very shortly, as it has turned now into a very lovely day in Denver, Colorado. The threat of rain seems to be gone, although the lights around the sun has broken through. NFL 86 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
And we welcome you back to NFL 86. Quickly through the scores in the game you're watching, the Raiders in Denver, every bit as close and exciting as you might have anticipated. 22-21 Raiders at the half. They've gone to the third quarter in Buffalo. Jim Kelly's debut. It included a touchdown pass on the Bills' first possession. But it's the Jets with a 14-10 lead early in the third quarter. Big play for them in the second period. Ken O'Brien, last year's NFL percentage passing leader, hits Al Toon, the second-year wide receiver, 46 yards for a touchdown. Jets with a 14-10 lead. Halftime in San Diego. 2 touchdown passes for Fouts. 2 for Marino, a 26-14 lead for the Chargers. At one point, they led 17-0. They had a big first quarter, and it included this play. Watch the effort by Gary Anderson after the reception from Fouts. He goes airborne for the spectacular touchdown. They have now gone to the third quarter in Foxborough, where the Patriots lead Indianapolis 10-3. They're in the third quarter at Arrowhead Stadium, and the Bengals and Chiefs are tied at 7 apiece. Third quarter at the Kingdome. Seattle is in front of Pittsburgh 6-0. Pittsburgh with 4 new starters along the offensive line because of injuries. Earlier today, Chicago defeats Cleveland 41-31, 113 yards and a pair of touchdowns for Walter Payton. A shoulder injury late in the game for Jim McMahon. We don't know how serious. And this, first ever regular season use of the instant replay rule. They're conferring with the guy upstairs after the third play from scrimmage in the game. Jay Hilgenberg's snap, eluding Jim McMahon. In the scuffle for the ball, it squirts to the back of the end zone. Al Gross of Cleveland picks it up, and the replay official says, yes, he got it before he went out of the end zone, and it's a Cleveland touchdown. Dennis Gentry had a 91-yard kick return for a TD also in that game. For Chicago, the Bears win it 41-31. Washington, with the old Bears assistant Buddy Ryan coaching on the other side, clobbers Ryan's Eagles 41-14. 2 touchdowns for Redskin newcomer Kelvin Bryant. And the master of defense, Buddy Ryan, has a little work to do with his new personnel. The 41 points, the most ever yielded in any game by the Eagles in 11 years. The Rams beat the Cardinals 16-10, 193 yards and a couple of touchdowns for Eric Dickerson, but the Cards could have won it. Time ran out on them trying to get off the last play at the 1-yard line of L.A. Houston, with Warren Moon throwing for 2 and running for another, beat Green Bay 31-3. Big day for James Jones of the Lions, 174 yards. Detroit wins at Minnesota 13-10. San Francisco intercepts Steve DeBerg 7 times. They romp at Tampa Bay 31-7. Atlanta's William Andrews returned, nothing spectacular, 5 carries, 28 yards. The Falcons beat Jim Morris' Saints in Morris' coaching debut at the Superdome 31-10. Martina Navratilova defeated Helena Sukoba 6-3, 6-2 to win the women's title at the U.S. Open today. Third time in 4 years that Martina has done it. In the men's final, Lendl leads Machir early. He won the first set 6-4. He is serving in the second set and leading 5-2 in pursuit of the men's title. And we'll come back with more on NFL 86 as we continue with our halftime activities in just a moment.
The Raiders holding to a 22-21 halftime lead. This has been a game with spectacular plays, and it has not been a game without controversy. There was a call against the Raiders late in the second quarter that ultimately led to Denver's touchdown by Gene Lang that's going to be refuted for some time. In fact, at halftime, the Raiders were protesting vehemently in the press box.
Let's watch the play. He'll throw to his left. Clarence Kay, the intended receiver, Turan in coverage. The bump is right there. The official from the corner of the end zone says that that's pass interference. Now, the Denver Broncos got lucky on this because the officials got together. In their judgment, the ball was catchable. And if there hadn't been contact between Turan and Kay, they feel that Kay could have made the catch. The net result was first and goal at the 1-yard line, and the Denver Broncos scored. You're right. There are a lot of people out at that door at the instant replay officials' room looking for an explanation.
As you said, Manute Bol might have been able to get to it, the 7'8" in center for the Washington Bullets, but I don't know if Clarence Kay could have.
Well, the other thing you got to remember, Don, is that the official there was at the corner of the end zone. The players were running right at it. So it's hard to judge what distance there is between the ball and the player. I thought that was a clear-cut case where they could at least stop for a minute, buzz the official, look at it a couple of times before they make the determination. I mean, no hesitation whatsoever. It's pass interference, first and goal.
Well, we've got a long way to go. It's been a spectacular first half. The Raiders at one point held a 19-7 lead, and then the Denver Broncos came back, certainly aided by that call that led directly to a touchdown on the next play from scrimmage from a yard out. Mark Wilson's done well, as has his counterpart John Elway. They've both thrown for over 150 yards.
Wilson, 8 of 16, 157, 2 touchdowns. Elway, 12 of 18, 154, and a touchdown. I think the most telling stats, though, Don, yards rushing. For the Denver Broncos, just 22. For the Los Angeles Raiders, just 59. I never would have thought coming into this football game that after 30 minutes of play, there would be 43 points scored between the two teams. These teams normally are very stingy defenses, don't give up a lot of points.
No, usually it's low scoring, and as we pointed out, the last 3 have been tied at the end and gone to overtime. There are the first half numbers as they break down. Denver rushed the ball a little bit. What they really did was offset the Raider pass rush when they did run successfully late in the second quarter. Got most of those yards, and that opened it up for Elway, who is really a consummate quarterback now. Used to be he'd glare down the one receiver he was going to. Now he checks out everybody on the field.
It's going to be interesting to see what the loss or the availability of Vance Johnson is for the Denver Broncos in the second half. He went off second quarter with a bad knee. Pretty impressive statistics for the Los Angeles Raiders. Last year, in both games that these two teams played, the Los Angeles Raiders trailed at halftime. The Denver Broncos, with their miserable performance in the third quarter last year, you can't repeat that stat enough.
103-39, they were outscored in the third quarter, 3-1.
So I think just to change the tune of things, Dan Reeves has got to go with game plan A in this third quarter. Try to get points on the scoreboard just to forget last year's third quarter performance.
Well, I asked Dan before the game what went wrong in the 2 losses to the Raiders last year, and he said the third quarter. What hurt us all season long against almost everybody. They still finished 11-5, did the Broncos. And John Elway, who came into the league, some question his ability as a winner. Wasn't that far over 500 at Stanford. Well, only one quarterback in the NFL over the past 2 seasons has a better one-loss record as a starter. That's Dan Marino. Coming into this game, Elway's 23-7 over the last 2 seasons. Stephon Adams is going to bring it back on the kickoff to open the third quarter for the Raiders, and he breaks it across the 30. Harless runs him down, and Stephon Adams has finally run out of bounds. 46-yard line of the Los Angeles Raiders. 49-yard return, so the Raiders come out and go batting on the opening kickoff.
You can see when he made that return, Don, when he got to the wall, that is his blockers and the Denver Bronco defenders, they were all lined up there. And he goes by Tony Lilly, 22, and all of a sudden, Stephon Adams with great foot speed, Rich Karlis credited with the tackle, but that's great field position for the Raiders to start. First and 10 at their own 46.
And off to Marcus Allen with that change of pace move, then the acceleration. He gets to the 50-yard line. A gain of 4 yards on the play for Marcus Allen, who gained 45 yards a carry, or 45 yards total in the first half, 4.5 a carry.
Watch Ricky Hundley take on Frank Hawkins. Ends him up, makes the tackle. That's a good job by an inside linebacker who was given a nod over Steve Busick at inside linebacker. He also calls the defensive signals for the Broncos.
Second down. Wilson and the Raiders need 6. Loop pass to Hawkins. Breaks the tackle. Mecklenburg gets him, but too late to stop the first down yardage. The Raiders have got it down to the 41-yard line of Denver.
Broncos defense normally very, very sure tacklers. There have been a lot of misses today, Don. Hawkins with an excellent move, but I think 8 times out of 10, Louis Wright makes that tackle.
Check that ticker momentarily. Mark Wilson, 6'6", is the tallest NFL quarterback, weighs 205 pounds. He took over when Jim Plunkett was injured. in the third game last year, and despite all the disparaging remarks about Wilson, the Raiders were 11-2 with him the rest of the way. Marcus Allen working hard, gets down to the 25-yard line. The 10-minute ticker, a 16-yard gain for Marcus Allen. Now into the third quarter, Jets leading Buffalo by a 14-10 count. San Diego continues to lead the Miami Dolphins, who went into San Diego as a slight favorite. And the rest of the scores, now Kansas City has broken 7-7 deadlock with Cincinnati.
How about that move by Marcus Allen? Stopped dead in the hole, then accelerated for about 12 yards.
That gave the Raiders a first down at the 25-yard line of Denver. Marcus Allen. Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
You're watching Colorado's news channel, KCNC-TV, Denver.
Bob Crumpy, this is Don Criqui at Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado. A stadium sold out for the 121st Denver Bronco regular season game. 17 years of shutoffs. They begin now at this 1986 season. Broncos came in and opened up with a 7-0 lead. Now they find themselves down 22-21 early in the third quarter, and the Raiders challenging. Throwing a strike. Rod Barksdale catches his first pass as a professional. And penalty markers come in after the play. Barksdale, the track man from Arizona, who wrote to the Raiders and asked for a tryout.
I think this is going to be against Denver, a late hit. Personal foul. Denver. Sometimes you not only have to play good football, you have to play smart football, especially in big games like this.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 43. After this is the goal line, first down.
Got it on Steve Foley, the veteran and very good free safety for the Broncos. Special teams play. Most important, and the Raiders got the big play to open the third quarter on the kickoff return by Stephon Adams, 49 yards. And now they've subsequently taken it down inside the 10 on the penalty. Marcus Allen running hard, taking hits and driving down to the 2-yard line, where it'll be second and goal. Wasn't a great opening day for Buddy Ryan as head coach of the Eagles. He did have an interesting quote during the week. He said that offense sells tickets, defense wins games, and special teams wins championships.
Watch how many tackles that Marcus Allen breaks. There's one. That's a clear hit by Townsend, runs through it. Foley finally wrestles him to the ground. For as lanky as Marcus Allen appears, a very, very strong running back.
Durability might be his greatest asset. Never wears down. Takes it down close, but no hands up. Now they go up. The linesman throws them up, and Marcus Allen is in with a touchdown. And the Raiders open up a 28-21 lead. Very important extra point would give them again the 8-point advantage.
So often just a kickoff return to open the second half marks the big difference. Another short trap. You see Kurt Marsh, number 60, leading up in there. Nobody to block. Allen right behind him. That was an impressive drive by the Raiders.
Marcus Allen in his 5th year has now scored 60 NFL touchdowns in 57 games. Chris Barr follows the touchdown with an extra point that gives the Raiders a 29-21 lead. Raiders kick it off when we come back to Denver.
Have you driven a Ford?
Now, get 2.9% financing or cash back on the purchase of most new Ford cars and trucks. Up to $600 cash back on Ford Ranger, $1,000 cash back on Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, and up to $600 on Tempos. 2.9% or cash back on other Ford cars and trucks, too. That's 2.9% financing or cash back. See your Ford dealer today.
Welcome to the Silver Bullet, home of a cold Coors Light.
Rob, do you work out?
Yeah, I belong to a club. Here's your Coors Light.
Yeah, I'm thinking about joining a club, but can't seem to find a good enough reason. I mean, is a flat stomach a good enough reason?
Nope.
Building up my endurance?
Nope.
Big muscles?
No.
See the club, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh! What's the name of that club? No slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
This is it. The moment they find out if their car's got what it takes. They've done everything they could.
which is why 2 out of 3 Indy 500 drivers rely on STP oil treatment. Because when it comes right down to it, STP adds extra lubrication to reduce engine wear in whatever you drive.
STP is the racer's edge.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Buy Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. And by IBM and the growing family of IBM personal computers.
Here's Marcus Allen on the payoff end of a drive in which the Raiders never used a third down.
Good lead block by Frank Hawkins and a good short pull by Kurt Marsh, number 60. That's a lot of company into the end zone for Marcus Allen.
And that opening kickoff of the third quarter by Stephon Adams set it all up when he ran it back 49 yards. Now Chris Barr booms one into the end zone, and Ken Bell, a rookie, will not bring it out. Vance Johnson not in the second half after banging up his right knee. A very valuable return man and receiver for the Denver Broncos. Raiders went right down the field. First time they got the ball in the third quarter. Now let's see what Elway and the Broncos can do, Trump.
Don, nothing that takes the steam out of your offense like that. A big return to open the second half on the kickoff, and then 7 plays right down the field, a 55-yard scoring drive for a touchdown. And now the pressure is back on this Denver offense, which, with the exception of the last drive of the second half, not very consistent today.
You got the rookie in, Mark Jackson, but the Broncos on first down go to the run. They worked hard to get just 27 yards running against this tough Raider defense in the first half. Sammy Winder ahead. Gets a couple of yards to bring up second down and 8. Mark Jackson, the rookie from Purdue, is in now replacing the injured Vance Johnson.
Look at this. Go with a quick huddle at the line of scrimmage. Try to keep players on the sideline, defensive players from the Raiders.
Not allow the extra defensive backs and pass rushers to come in. Here's a throw and a strike to Gene Lang, and a big league hit by Matt Millen. He's made a few of those in his career.
Once again, John Elway wants his team at the line of scrimmage. The Raiders are trying to substitute.
Get their people in.
Now they can get a penalty.
Yes, they got extra people on as Elway wisely throws it out of bounds and the markers go down. They got penalty yards.
They got it. See, they got them 2 ways. Denver's got them 2 ways. If they're trying to get people on and they can get people at the line of scrimmage and snap it, 5-yard penalty, too many men on the field. If they can't do that, you're still running against the standard defense.
On the field, defense, 5 yards, first down.
Even though players are running to the sideline, have no intentions whatsoever of being involved in the play, they still are counted. It's a good idea, and it worked. Gets him at first down.
So Elway and the Broncos coming out again with a change in game plan. Certainly one for the Raiders they were not expecting. Going with the 2-minute offense without huddles as they open the third quarter with their first possession. Quickly to the run, the Raiders again shut it down. Jamie Kimmel, a young linebacker from Syracuse, came up to stuff Gene Lang.
Watch Howie Long. He's on Ken Lanier. You see Bishop, 54, trying to make a block. Howie Long, there once again, Denver going with that quick offense, Don, at the line of scrimmage. Second and long.
Was the closest to the ball. Coming out of blitz was the second-year linebacker from Tennessee, Reggie McKenzie, who, as you saw, had Elway for the moment, then he spun away. Goes as an incomplete pass.
I'm surprised they didn't call this in the grass. You can see 54 is untouched. In most instances, I do believe officials would call that in the grass, but Elway very elusive as a quarterback. Still goes as an incomplete pass. Brings up third down and 9 now. Denver goes back to the huddle, and the Raiders bring in their extra people for the pass set.
Third and 9. Swing pass. Will Hite has some open field, and he gets out to the 36-yard line. way short of where he had to go, so the Raiders will get it back on a punt with 10:41 to play in the third quarter. Los Angeles leading 29-21, and now a check of the 10-minute ticker. San Diego scored again. Not a happy opening day for the Dolphins at San Diego. New England, defending AFC champions with a commanding lead on the Colts at Patriot Stadium in Foxborough. And right now, Jack Wheel is ready to punt the ball for Denver. High kick, Napoleon McCallum under the ball at the 24-yard line. Not much there for Napoleon. There also is a penalty marker down.
Denver's going to get it back. This is going to be against the Los Angeles Raiders. While the ball's in the air, I think Denver's going to get it back. No, you can read his lips. He just said post-possession.
Number 44, Los Angeles, unsportsmanlike conduct will be penalized from the end of the run.
Post-possession fouls, they keep possession. On a punt, possession ends when it leaves the punter's foot. So that was ruled after the punt, and the yards tacked on where it was received by the Los Angeles Raiders.
Mark Wilson, who took his team right down the field on the Raiders' first possession of the second half, with Marcus Allen on the payoff end, now comes out again. Very cool under fire. Mark Wilson will have to wait a minute, so we come back.
Have you driven a Ford?
Now, get 2.9% financing or cash back on the purchase of most new Ford cars and trucks. Up to $600 cash back on Ford Ranger, $1,000 cash back on Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, and up to $600 on Tempos. 2.9% or cash back on other Ford cars and trucks, too. That's 2.9% financing or cash back. See your Ford dealer today.
Rise and shine, catch the line, catch the limit here. Now you're talking fishing, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is smoking here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is smoking here. I feel good.
Time to go, boys. You've been in there long enough.
Hey, we're not even tired. I feel good.
So I've checked the mileage, Andy.
Hey, we're the order line. We're guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far we go.
But no spark plug guarantees that.
We do. Yeah, we're the auto line.
But
So go pull the plug on somebody else.
An American tradition continues. In 1978, it was dubbed the modern-day shot heard round the world. Bucky Dent's three-run homer helped clinch one of baseball's greatest comeback seasons. Next Saturday, the intense rivalry continues as the Yankees host the Red Sox or the Reds meet the Dodgers. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Criqui back at Mile High Stadium. NBC statistician Dennis Mnuchin totaling the numbers. Mark Wilson, after missing his first 4 throws of this game, has now gone on to hit 10 of his next 14, 10 of 18 for the day for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. Marcus Allen has over 125 yards. He has 130 yards total offense, 75 running, 55 catching. He's going for more and gets more. On a first down carry, Marcus Allen goes, but there is a marker down.
A reminder, another 100-yard rushing day by Marcus Allen, holding Raiders. 100-yard rushing day by Marcus Allen, and he's got the NFL record for consecutive 100-yard rushing days, presently tied with Walter Payton. If he gets it today, it would be his 10th. That's where I read that right there.
6'2", 205 pounds.
Holding, number 46, half the distance at the goal line. Still first down.
After he won the Heisman Trophy in 1981, 2 backs were drafted ahead of him, 2 running backs in that draft. They were Darren Nelson, who went to the Vikings, and Gerald Riggs out of Arizona State. who went to Atlanta. Marcus was not pleased and has done something about it since. Hawkins is stuck. Reuben Carter gets him along with Rulon Jones as the knockdown is made inside the 5-yard line.
This was ugly from the start. Hawkins almost decks Mark Wilson. Boom, right there. Nice little shot. And then Reuben Carter, Rulon Jones there to make the tackle for a loss.
Defensive front for the Denver Broncos. Reuben Carter is the nose tackle. 4 down linemen. The very fast Simon Fletcher's in the game at right end. He's 73. Rulon Jones is in. So is Greg. There is a handoff now as the pitch to Marcus Allen turns it upfield and is knocked out of bounds as he gets to the 10-yard line. Short of the first down, a second down carry, way short. They've got 3rd and 10 coming up.
See that? Even in the heat of a rivalry like this, Marcus Allen and Dennis Smith given a low 5 there, former teammates. You mentioned his durability. He is incredibly durable. Some of the hits he takes
here is 2 years ago when he took the hardest shot I saw all season. Tom Jackson got him in the open field after he caught a swing pass. I thought Allen would go out in the stretcher, and he didn't go out even for a play. He was right back in the lineup.
I thought it was Mecklenburg. Just absolutely snapped his head back.
Handoff again to Marcus Allen. He's out to the 16-yard line.
Fumble.
Broncos think they have it. Woodard is heading to the end zone. Ken Woodard is in to signal the touchdown. So the Denver defense delivers, and the Broncos are back in it again. 29-27.
The replay here could be critical. You realize that?
Ken Woodard made the hit and made the fumble recovery for the touchdown.
Here's the replay. Good yardage. Where's the ball loose? It's loose. Good call. It's loose. And in the end zone.
The players on Denver say that Ken Woodard from Tuskegee is the second best natural athlete on the defense after Dennis Smith. So the Raiders give up a touchdown with their offensive unit on the field. Now Carlos will try to make it again a one-point game.
The replay official is looking at the replay again. He can look at it when we don't have to, when we can't. Once again, let's watch close.
Here's another view.
Mike Harden's in the way. That ball's loose. That ball is loose. Good call by the official. That was a fumble.
Confirmed that Marcus Allen was not down when he lost possession of the ball, and Ken Woodard, who struck him first, picks it up, goes in from 12 yards out. Now the Broncos have Carlos on the field with Kubiak holding, looking for a point after that'll bring them back to within 1. So with 8:46 to go, it's a one-point game. Raiders were in the third quarter.
Fire Brewing. It's more than a way to make Stroh's and Stroh Light. It's a family tradition, passed down from one generation to another for over 200 years. It's what guarantees that smooth, consistent taste for generations to come.
Now you're talking Stroh. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times. And Stroh's is talking beer.
A typical day with the station wagon, except one thing's changed. The station wagon. The new Ford Taurus wagon, with the design and performance that make everyday driving more than an everyday experience.
Louder than American car that has exactly what we've been looking for. Taurus, Taurus. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Aha, there's a thief in this attic. This skimpy amount of insulation can rob you blind on your fuel bill.
Fight back with the attic blanket from Owens Corning. It's the thickest, most powerful roll of pink insulation you can add. It can help you save money on your fuel bill.
It is an open and shut case.
Owens Corning, we put your house in the pink.
The world's athletes are gathering in Rome. The IAAF Grand Prix Final. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports.
Once again, we'll watch this play, fumble or not, ruled by the officials a fumble. I agree. I'll try to point out the ball to you when it comes loose. Still got it. Still got it. Now there it goes.
Woodard made the first hit, and Tony Lilly, a backup safety, also struck hard, helping free the ball. 1977, Rod Lytle, now retired, goes into the Raider defense. Jack Tatum hits him. Fumbled the ball. That was a turning point in the game, and right now up the field goes Napoleon McCallum across the 20 and out to the 22-yard line. Now, bright, sunshiny day in Denver after it was very overcast earlier. Check of the ticker. Miami's put another touchdown up to come within 12 of the Chargers at San Diego. New England pulling away against the Colts. And Seattle now shutting out the Steelers through 3/4 of play. Earlier finals, Bears won. Washington blew out the Buddy Ryan Eagles, and the Rams won a big one on the road, beating the Cardinals at St. Louis. Dickerson had a big day. Wilson on first down. Gets time. He gets Christensen. His fourth catch of the day is good for a first down out to the 37-yard line. Not supposed to be fast, but he always seems to be open. That was good for a 14-yard gain. Houston with a big opening upset at Green Bay. And the Lions, an underdog, went to Minneapolis and beat the Vikings 13-10. San Francisco blew out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Florida. And Atlanta, an underdog, pulled away early and routed the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome. 8 minutes to go, third quarter. Raiders leading by 1 point. Marcus Allen in trouble. He's knocked down back up the 30.
Rulon Jones on the tackle. You can see the Broncos do an excellent job at the point of attack. Delay, it's a counter. Hundley's there to at least alter where Marcus Allen is going. Rulon Jones, good on the offside. You wait until that guy comes back to you before you turn around and head back downfield. He makes the tackle.
Second down and 16 for the Raiders. Third quarter, they lead by a point. Christensen, first down, Los Angeles, out to the 43-yard line. Now, Allegan really did not hold the ball.
Oh, he got it, but not enough for a first down.
Oh, he's going to be short, yeah.
One of the most sure-handed receivers. Christensen once again gets lost in the shuffle. A delay outside. You see Allen clearing out. Mecklenburg slips. Good enough for about 12 yards. Brings up third and about 4.
The Raiders' speed on the flanks takes the Denver zone deep, and then big tight end Todd Christensen comes underneath. 5 catches now today for 70 yards. You'll remember he was in for a touchdown in the first half.
I'd watch him here, too.
Third and 4. Wilson going the distance. Tony Williams catches the ball, or Barksdale has it, the rookie. Rod Barksdale, a flyer from Arizona. The kid who never played high school or college football is in the end zone on a 57-yard touchdown reception. Steve Wilson was victimized. Looked to be with him. Barksdale had the step and came down with the ball.
Now, if this kid didn't play high school or college, preseason doesn't count. This has got to be his first touchdown ever. He does a great job of concentrating on this football. Wilson makes an outstanding throw. 57 yards. Denver thought they were just going to try for the first down. The Raiders like to go deep.
Raiders caught speed one-on-one, and speed won as Barksdale, the fastest Raider, got deep for his first professional touchdown. In the regular season, he did well in the preseason, caught some long balls. So again, in this high-scoring game, the Raiders open up an 8-point lead.
Have you driven a
Now, get 2.9% financing or cash back on the purchase of most new Ford cars and trucks. Up to $600 cash back on Ford Ranger, $1,000 cash back on Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, and up to $600 on Tempos. 2.9% or cash back on other Ford cars and trucks, too. That's 2.9% financing or cash back. See your Ford dealer today.
For just a minute, we'd like to interrupt the serious work being done on IBM personal computers to announce a birthday. Ours. It's the 5th birthday of our expanding family of IBM personal computers. We'd like to thank all the people who've bought over 3 million of them, and to invite a few million more people to visit an authorized IBM dealer or call their IBM representative and join the celebration.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the only leading motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Lonnie Anderson, Jack Elam, and Lee Weaver premiere September 13th following the Golden Girls.
Sounds like a good racket to me.
On Easy Street.
The Raiders just hit another big play. Here it is as Mark Wilson drops to throw and goes long ball to a rookie sprinter, Barksdale. It's good for 88 or 57 yards in a touchdown. And Mark Wilson won't be in any fan polls to see who's the worst quarterback in Los Angeles. What is he today? 11 of 19 for 231 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That shocked the Denver Broncos. I think they thought they were going for just the first down, and they hit deep. It takes the wind out of them.
Gendell runs back the kickoff. Rookie from Boston College, straight ahead out to the 33-yard line for the Broncos.
Starts always with good pass protection. You can see the offensive line of the Raiders giving that to Wilson. And then it's just kind of a hand fight down the sideline. This is a perfectly thrown ball. Outside where the defender can't get to it unless there is pass interference. He concentrates. The motherland. Tom Flores, normally very unemotional, doesn't mind celebrating.
At least outwardly. He's churning inside in this big game, and here is Elway with a throw that's too high for Mark Jackson. Denver Zephyrs baseball team still in action, so the infield dirt is still down in the baseball portion of the stadium.
See that numbers? 104 yards to 12 in the third quarter. Dan Reeves doesn't want to see this tendency continue. Last year, as we've documented, cost them a lot of chances in a lot of games.
Phenomenally high-scoring game for the Raiders and the Broncos, who pride themselves on defense, 36-28. Los Angeles leads, and we still have 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Pitch up the middle to Sewell, and he's out to the 41-yard line. On a 2nd and 10 play, he got 7. Bill Piquel, the nose tackle, knocked him down.
That's a happy Raider bench. Al Davis mentioned to us before the game. Said we've got some young people here. I'm not sure how we're going to play. I think we're good. I'm not really sure. Said playing the Denver Broncos away over the season very difficult for us. Well, the young guys have come up with the big plays. Barksdale is a perfect example.
He's a real find. Most of those world-class sprinters have Dr. Strangelove hands. Elway. Long trying to get him. Elway throws deep. It's a free ball. It's incomplete. Lots of people collide, and then they start up after the play.
Elway got hammered. Absolutely hammered by Greg Townsend. Got a shot right in the chest. That was intended to come back to Sewell. He was well covered. We've got a flag.
Elway's big and strong, and he needed all of it to offset that hit. That's the hit downfield as the pass was broken up, but there was a call against the Raiders.
Contact, number 43, defense, 5 yards, makes it a first down.
Sam Seal, when you're playing defensive back against the Denver Broncos, because of the ability to John Elway to scramble and get the ball down the field, you're going to have a lot of calls against you. The Raiders don't mind being penalized either. Most penalized team in the league for a number of years are still able to function.
Take a long time on the drop. You know it's going to come, usually from the blind side. That big hit from the Raider pass rush as Gene Lang takes it out to the 50-yard line on a first down carry. He gained 4. Rod Martin, veteran outside linebacker from USC, on the stop. Jets continue to lead the Bills in the fourth quarter by a 14-10 count. Jim Kelly starting for the Buffalo Bills, his first game in the NFL. Miami's defense, which wasn't great last year, appears to have gotten no better. Down at San Diego, they're having a problem. New England pulling away over Indianapolis. Kansas City looks like a winner over Cincinnati.
Blitz coming here, Don.
Swing pass to Mark Jackson, and the Raiders hem him in, and Lester Hayes brings him under. 5-time Pro Bowler Lester Hayes. Trimmed down. 203. He played at 2.8, 220 last year.
Now, when you're in bump and run as much as Lester is and the Raiders are, you need to be quick, because a lot of teams now are coming with guys like Vance Johnson. Very fast, very quick. So at 220, you may be able to beat them up, but they're going to outrun you to the end zone.
Third down, and Denver Broncos need just over 10. Elway throws. He's got a man. Mark Jackson didn't get there. He's down to the 46-yard line. He looks to be inches away. Now he's more than that, a yard away. And coaches in the stands say, go for it. Dan Reeves is thinking about it.
I think they are. Oh, here comes Jack Wheel in.
Hunter's coming out. Dan Reeves, who spent 16 years in the Dallas organization as a player and a coach. It's Coach Tom Landry is looking on today in Dallas, getting set for his opener with the Giants tomorrow night. We'll be broadcasting this game on NBC Radio, as right now,
Wheel under center. Trying to draw a penalty. They'll try to draw a penalty here, Don. Motion. That's all they're trying to do is draw a penalty. The Raiders weren't buying it.
There's a penalty marker down, back upfield. A delay of game is all, and it'll be a 5-yard knock-off, and the regular punter will come in.
Not a bad idea. You try. You put your punter up underneath the center. Hopefully nobody notices. Somebody panics on the defensive line, jumps across. You get your 5 yards, and it's a first down.
Well, Coach Reeves has gone to the trick play today, and it was a throw from Sewell to Elway that gave the Raiders Broncos one of their touchdowns. The Raiders have come back, have moved the ball when they've had to, and they again hold an 8-point lead, 36-28. 2:41 to play in the third quarter. Well hit ball. McCallum has a problem getting to it. Lets it happen. It goes out of bounds. 14-yard line. Well done by the free agent from Wyoming, Jack Wheel. His dad has been a season ticket holder of Bronco games for 18 years.
39 yards on the punt. I imagine his dad is just breathless sitting somewhere here in Mile High Stadium.
I'd like to welcome those of you watching the Pittsburgh at Seattle game. We're at Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy, the Los Angeles Raiders, in a wild game with a lot of big plays, leading 36-28. NBC Sports goes to week 2. Among the featured games, the Raiders against the Redskins in Washington, the Chargers against the Giants in New Jersey. Marcus Allen with the slashing run. And now, while we have a moment, let's go back to NFL 86. Bob?
Don, with 14 minutes to play in the game now, Jim Kelly and the Bills have the lead over the Jets. Watch this nice catch by Andre Reed off the Kelly pass. He sprints down the sideline and dives across. 55-yard TD and a 17-14 Buffalo lead.
Thank you, Bob. Jim Kelly, worth the money. He's already paid his way the first year that they sold out Buffalo Stadium over 80,000 for his first game. Wilson getting taken care of as Rulon Jones looking at Mecklenburg, and he was picked up by Davis. Bruce Davis blocking well, but then from the other side came Rulon Jones for the sack.
Quarterbacks have a way of letting you know what's going on. When Wilson finally gets on the ground here, it's Henry Lawrence. Wilson kind of gives him, hey, what about this guy? That guy in the orange jersey on my back. Take care of him, will you?
Big Rulon just signed him a big deal. What's he get, about $800,000 a year to rush the passer?
A lot.
Heck of a lot more than Paul Brown gave you.
Ever.
Career. Marcus Allen hit hard, is knocked down at the 10-yard line, and now the Raiders have to punt the ball. 1:09 to go in the third quarter as the defensive coach Joe Collier of the Denver Broncos walks the sideline. A lot of new looks in the Denver defense also this year. Maybe subtle to the most viewers, but they're doing a lot of different things instead today at the outset.
They are all over the place. Every time those offensive linemen have to identify who might be the pass rusher so you don't turn them loose on your quarterback. 10 men up, Don.
Ray Guy hits it from the goal line. Wilhite looks for a fair catch signal. It's going to carry out of bounds on the Raiders side of the field. So Denver, trailing by 8, gets possession on the Raiders side of the field. Let's see where they position the ball.
35-yard line.
Elway and the offense come out with the best field position they've had to start a drive.
25-yard punt by Mr. Guy. For you tennis fans, in case you're interested, Lendo wins the U.S. Open. 4-2 in love.
6-4, 6-2, 6-love.
Imagine that went quickly. Mercier.
Your name has to be Vashislov to be in the picture in tennis these days.
Lots of ovas.
All players. Steve Sewell takes the ball and gets it inside the 35, a gain of just 2. I saw Billie Jean King the other day, asked her how long she thought Navratilova will dominate women's tennis. She said as long as she wants to.
Is that right?
She's that good an athlete.
That good an athlete. Well, Steffi Graf made it difficult for her.
We're going to wind down now the closing seconds of the third quarter of play here in the Mile High City. The Broncos and the Raiders meet again November 2nd at the LA Coliseum. That huge arena will be packed. They're starting construction of skyboxes there. They'll be ready next season in Los Angeles.
Monday. She's dangerous. He's the liberal living in the dark ages, and she's the first woman Supreme Court Justice in First Monday in October. Monday.
You want to take the fifth?
Introducing Kodacolor VRG, film that captures the color of power. The most accurate, realistic color in print film is here. New Kodacolor VRG.
Ah, your data transport system. Nothing controls the pulse of your company like it. If it's outdated, it can foul up communications, lose transmissions, or go down, leaving employees playing instead of producing. That's why Mountain Bell introduces Digicom, a digital transport system that makes your company more productive by transmitting high-speed data with 99.9% accuracy. Digicom, when your data transport system is working, so is your company.
Jeep Cherokee has some advantages you ought to look into, like superior cargo room and room for 5 with a choice of 2 or 4 doors and 4-wheel drive you can shift on the fly. But the most important advantage, Cherokee is all Jeep, inside and out.
Zero % financing available at the Big Wheels until October 8th.
You're watching News Center 4, the Broncos station.
Some of the new luxury skyboxes at Mile High Stadium that opened this year. We talked about the Raiders. They'll have skyboxes at the Coliseum next season. And with those new skyboxes here at Mile High Stadium, the attendance goes to over 76,000. They're full, too. to trigger a throw on an out pattern. The running back Gene Lang is behind him, so it brings up 3rd down and 8.
Had what they wanted, linebacker coverage on the running back. Most running backs should win that matchup.
Big day in Buffalo as Jim Kelly has brought the Bills from behind in the 4th quarter over the heavily favored Jets. San Diego just chewing alive Miami's defense. Miami's nose tackle, Mike Charles, was suspended without pay for 4 games by Don Shula, one of their best defensive linemen. He couldn't find him. They finally sent somebody to his house. He had the phone off the hook. He'd missed a couple of practices. So now he's going to miss a few games and quite a few checks. Gentry forgetful with Shula and forget to come to practice. Long ball. Kay goes for it. Almost picked up by Turan, the strong safety, running with the Denver tight end.
Well, let's see what we do here now if you're the Denver Broncos. The ball is at the 34, 44, and 7. That's a 51-yard or thereabout attempt. That's just about at Rich Carlos's limit. This is an important 3 points, too. Of course, all points are important, but now a touchdown. Puts them ahead.
14:50 to go, though. 51-yard attempt. Carlos can hit it that far. Wind is not a factor today. See, the banners are not out at all. No wind.
That's enough.
Knocks it right through the middle. So Rich Carlos has not had a lot of happy moments the last couple of years in Denver. He's had some problems. Hits a big one, and all of a sudden the Broncos are back to within 5.
Sunny days, Captain Ray enjoys while it's here. Now you're talking color. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times.
Stroh Light. Smooth, refreshing, less filling.
Now you're talking surf. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times.
Apache. There's nothing hotter in the air or on the ground for Jack Holt, Army crew chief.
The Apache's got advanced everything, like a TV for target acquisition. The gunner aims just by moving his head. Talk about hot. This bird can make tracks at 200 miles an hour. Now that's cool. No, that's hot.
Have you looked at Allstate homeowners rates lately?
Wow!
They're low. You may be surprised how low they are.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
As your life changes, your needs change. That's why you'll find experts in investments and real estate and insurance together at the Sears Financial Network. Come to a center at Sears or a member office for advice you can trust.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else? And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. This is the highest scoring Bronco Raider game in the long history of this series back in '63. The Oakland Raiders beat the Denver Broncos 35-31. That was the highest scoring till now. Today we have another point up. It's 36-31 Raiders. A long way to go. A short kickoff, a high spinner, and McCallum will take it at the 9. Ensign McCallum working hard in his dress blues and tennis shoes. He keeps on trucking free low. They got it. Seems they got it. Broncos have it.
Randy Robbins on the bottom. He does a nice job of breaking through the wall here. But sometimes when you get hit a little bit, Woodard hits him a little bit, and Millen tries to help him, all of a sudden it looks like it hit right on somebody's helmet. Bounced right out of McCallum's hand. Don, this is not 1st and 10 now. This is 1st and 39 for the Denver Broncos. All out right here.
Broncos trailing by 5, 36-31. We're in the fourth quarter. 14:30 to play in the game. Sewell will throw again. Oh, he was hoping to, but the Raiders sweep him under back at the Denver 48. Sean Jones got him. You'll remember earlier it was Sewell who threw the option pass, and he threw it to his quarterback, John Elway. It was resulting in a touchdown for Denver.
Now you can see the frustration of the Denver Broncos to this point, as opposed to going for something basic for the last 14 minutes of the football game, drive it down the field. You can tell a lot by what's called on the field as to the confidence of the coach on the sideline. I don't think Dan Reeves right now feels confident that his team can just take it right at the Raiders. Therefore, you go with the halfback option pass.
Well, the Broncos know they can't run it. They've not been doing that today. Here's Elway eluding a rush. Needs a block. Gets one. Throws a strike to Watson. An absolutely superior catch. Now they're waving it off. They say no.
Here's another important replay. Elway breaks the cardinal sin, throwing back over the middle late, but he, with that gun, can get it off. Let's watch very closely. Boy, I'll tell you what, that looks like a catch. That looks like a catch. Can we see it again? You can see the umpire, the man with a U on his back, in contact with the official up in the replay booth. There's the microphone. There's the hearing device. We do have a back judge who is marking where the completion was made down at the 31. Now they're ruling no catch. Can't tell from that angle. Or the first one, that looked like a catch.
Upon further review, the ball was trapped incomplete. Third down.
Well, long out. As opposed to settling some controversy, first week of the NFL season 1968 created some.
Yes, right. Big one earlier was the interference call against Turan of the Raiders in the Raider end zone. And what appeared to be an overthrown ball, uncatchable. Penalty went against Los Angeles, and Denver scored one play later from the 1. Swing pass up the middle to Wilhite. Blockers in front. Penalty knockers down. Wilhite is down to the 33-yard line.
Now we got a penalty on the field. I believe while the ball was in the air, a Denver Bronco player was blocking.
Broncos think it's against the Raiders.
They were right. Once again, let's go back to the catch or non-catch. Rule of the trap. It's very hard to distinguish. You can see Watson's hands underneath the ball, but you can't tell whether that ball hits the ground. With further review, not indisputable evidence that it was a catch, and therefore no catch. It was trapped. Now what do we do? This will be a first down.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 43 is 5 yards from the previous spot and first down.
They don't care about the yardage. They want the first down, Denver does.
Hey, every time these two teams play, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. This is playoff football, week 1 of the 1986 season.
Raiders leading 36-31. They've led by as much as 19-7. That was at the end of the first quarter after Denver scored first. Went up 7-0 in the game. End off to Gene Lang, and he gets some as he dives inside the 40 and down to the 38-yard line. Now, while we have a moment, let's go back to Bob Costas at NFL 86.
Don, yesterday, Miloslav Machir was able to beat Boris Becker, but today against Ivan Lendl, he ran out of miracles. In straight sets, Lendl is the men's champion of the U.S. Open 6-4, 6-2, 6-love. Earlier, Navratilova over Sakova to wear the women's crown.
There's those overs. Sakova
doesn't thrill me. Handoff goes to Sewell on a pitch back, and he's down to the 33-yard line. As we look at the 10-minute ticker. Jets now on a touchdown run by Johnny Hector with plenty of time remaining at Orchard Park, New York, have come back to lead the Bills. Seattle blowing out the Steelers, who've had their injury problems. Now we'll take a look at the finals. The Bears win. So do the Skins, beating the Buddy Ryan Philadelphia Eagles badly on opening day. Houston under new coach Jerry Glanville with a very impressive opening win over favored Green Bay. First down, Denver with 12:21 to play in the game, and the LA Raiders leading 36-31.
Now suddenly Dan Reeves, confidence in his offense, back to the standard bread and butter plays. Try to control that line of scrimmage a little bit, take the pass rush of the Raiders out of the football game. This is their running pair now, Lang and Winder.
Interesting, all those throws and no interceptions either way today. Again, they bang the ball at the Raider defense. Going with the run, Sammy Winder takes it straight down to the 31-yard line. On a first down carry, he got a couple. Reggie McKenzie and Rod Martin, two of the Raider linebackers, made the stop. Game clock running, 11:43 to play. Raiders 36, Broncos 31.
Let's watch this set. They have two tight ends and Steve Sewell in the backfield. The lone setback, I believe. He'd be nice on a swing pass here. They have two tight ends, two wide receivers, and Sewell in the backfield. A lot they can do from here.
Watson comes in motion. He's the possession receiver. That's the
Sewell.
Swing pass. Sewell is all the way down to the 19-yard line, and the Broncos have a first down, and they'll get more as a penalty marker comes in on Los Angeles.
Excellent block by Keith Bishop out there in front of him, Don. Personal foul. Los Angeles Raiders. You could see what they were doing when they brought Watson in motion. They got everybody compacted in there with the two tight ends. There's nobody out there. They try to scrape everybody off. Elway does a good job of looking down the field. There's the block by Bishop on McKenzie. Sewell does a great job of running the ball. Let's see where the penalty is. I think they call it on Mike Haynes. 22, piling on late. Not very smart.
Sewell is a rangy back. Grew up in San Francisco and followed the Raiders. The young man before going to Oklahoma. He can play anywhere. Running back, wide receiver, could even quarterback. He's that good an athlete. Out of Oklahoma, the #1 draft choice a year ago. Now Winder takes it straight ahead. Raiders give yardage grudgingly. Patel shot the gap and made the hit.
Here we go again.
10 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the game. Raiders 36, Broncos 31. As we pointed out earlier in the game, Trump, since the league went to the 16-game schedule in 1978, the winners on opening day figured to have twice the chance of going to the playoffs as the losers on opening day.
And in this particular series, since 1978, one team has been swept. Denver in 78, 81, and 84 swept the Raiders. The Raiders swept in 79, 80, 83, and last year.
Second down. Elway on the sprint out. Looks at Gene Lang. He's not open now. A man is in it. Wide open was Mark Jackson, but Elway didn't see him as he went to the short receiver. Jackson, the rookie from Purdue, comes sprinting back to tell Elway,
Don't do that,
my man.
Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're a rookie receiver, go back in the huddle and just whisper to him, I was open. I'm not good at calling plays, but with the ability of John Elway, if I had a quarterback draw in and I were Dan Reeves, I'd call it right here. A quarterback draw. I think it would work.
Third down. 9:55 to play.
Well, it won't be a quarterback draw. You can't run it from the shotgun.
That's the right thing to say just before you play him.
Lang.
Oh, the catch! Touchdown! Gene Lang is in. Elway rockets the ball between defenders, and the Denver Broncos take the lead. 37-36.
7 yards on the catch. Don, somehow, all day long, Denver has gotten it done. I mean, there's nothing to really scream about for Denver in this football game, but they've managed to get it done. 8 turnovers, several penalties.
And Trump, this is the first time since the opening drive when the Broncos scored on the Elway throw that the Broncos have led the game. They've led 7-0, fell behind 19-7. Now they have a 37-36 lead. It's like the old American Football League. Extra point is good. The Raiders trail by 2. Most exciting thing in Raider football over the years, the last 2 minutes, we're still got a long way to go.
An urgent message from the Mazda hotline. 626s are really moving at your Mazda dealer's year-end clearance. Mazda 626, the family sedan with world-class road car credentials. With standard features like front-wheel drive, independent rear suspension, and fuel-injected engine, it's already an outstanding value. But during your Mazda dealer's year-end clearance, the deals are even better. See him today and save.
To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, Merrill Lynch is there with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
The way I see it, people used to know about nature, respected it. Then they figured they'd try to make it better. Take beer. Can you imagine why anyone would want to add anything artificial to something that just comes naturally from ingredients like grain, water, barley, hops? Neither can Coors.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Raiders battle the Redskins.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
The last 3 Raider-Bronco games have gone to overtime. It's unlikely it'll happen today with a 2-point difference, but right now, the Broncos have the lead, and this place is pandemonium.
Last 5 games decided by 3 points or less, and you're right, all the orange worn now in Mile High Stadium on their feet. This is the moment that they've waited for. Now it's up once again to the Denver defense. Very seldom in the past has that defense failed this Denver Bronco football team.
Napoleon McCallum takes the kickoff at the 8. He's to the 15-yard line. He's across the 20 and out to the 26-yard line. You remember his last carry resulted in an expensive fumble. Now back to NFL 86.
Don, the Jets and Bills can't match your game there for thrills, but they've had their moments. Take this 71-yard catch and run by the veteran Wesley Walker from the Ken O'Brien pass, and with just over 5 minutes to play, the Jets are now in front of the Bills. 28-17, back to Mile High.
Thank you, Bob. Jim Kelly can't play defense.
That's a very big, auspicious beginning for Mr. Kelly. Wasn't even decided if he was going to start, was it?
No, I didn't. Mark Wilson has some big numbers for the Raiders. 11 of 19 for 231 yards and 3 touchdowns. 9:40 to go. A load of time left. Marcus Allen is across the 30 on a first down catch. Gain good for 6 yards for the Raiders.
Cragen right in there on the feet of Mark Wilson, pressuring him. You see Mark Wilson looking to the sideline. A real change in posture for the Los Angeles Raiders. Tom Flores now calls the plays for Mark Wilson. Historically, Raider quarterbacks have always called their own.
Marcus Allen has caught 4 passes for 62 yards. He's rushed 20 times for 81 more. 2nd and 4. Marcus Allen. First down Raiders. Free ball, but it's knocked out of bounds. A thunderous hit put on him. And the ball shot free, as you saw. But the Raiders maintain possession and get 4 new downs to work with. 8:55 to play. Clock stopped 4th quarter as we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Colorado's News Channel, KCNC TV, Denver.
The Incidentally, Jim Kelly's 18 for 31 today for 261 yards for Buffalo.
I got a stat for you on Marcus Allen. In 1985, when Allen rushed 20 times or more, the Raiders' record, 12-1.
Raiders down by 2, fourth quarter. Swing pass to Marcus Allen in open field. A dancer and a diver, Marcus Allen loses tacklers and gets ahead for yet another first down. A 13-yard gain on the play. As we check the 10-minute ticker. Jets now in command at Buffalo, it would seem, late in that game, an 11-point lead. And San Diego with an embarrassment that's seldom heaped on the Miami Dolphins. Seattle laying waste to the Steelers on opening day. New England doing the same to the Colts. What a game here in Denver. Lots of points, and it's 2 points separating the two teams.
You're going to keep seeing Marcus Allen here, Don. Any way they can get him the ball.
The more he gets it, the more he likes it. And here comes Marcus Allen again, but he's cut down. Coming up to make the play was Cragen, a nose tackle from Utah State in his second year.
One of the things the Raiders would like to do is de-emphasize Marcus Allen a little in their offense this year. He had 380 carries last season. 380 regular season carries last year. I'd like to de-emphasize him a little bit. But in this situation, 7:38 to go behind fourth quarter, he's the money man for the Raiders.
Speed kills, and the Raiders have deep speed on either flank. Wilson drops the throw. He's looking at Doki Williams. The ball is tipped and incomplete.
That was great.
Off the hands of tight end Todd Christensen, who thinks he was fouled.
That was great coverage by Dennis Smith. Outstanding coverage by Dennis Smith. Tight ends, having been one for a number of years, you try to win these battles at the shoves, right at the break. And Dennis Smith playing with that broken collarbone, right with Christensen.
Good second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports, George Finkel. Our director, Richard Klein. Executive producer at NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Is on opening day in Denver. We've got big numbers on the board. 38-36. The Broncos taking the lead in the fourth quarter. Wilson loops it. It goes to no one. Making the play on the ball was Denver defensive back Mike Harden. Rulon Jones was smoking in on Mark Wilson. Now the Raiders have to punt.
Ken Woodard right in Wilson's face. You see Dennis Smith also on the blitz. Christensen loses his feet. And the Denver defense has done it. Stopped the Raiders. Awful lot of time left. Awful lot of time left for a team that has not run the ball particularly well for Denver today. They're still not out of jeopardy.
And over the years, nobody plays beat the clock better than the Raiders. Shank punt, but it actually turns out to be a good one as Ray Guy angles the ball out of bounds. And Denver fans came alive. Looked like it was going to carry short. 37-yard punt, but it's out of bounds at the 9.
Cleaver, did you send those galoshes to Cleveland? They didn't get there.
Yes, Mr. Reliable. Air Express, as per your instructions.
Which company did you use?
Why? Aren't they all the same?
Hold it. If you'd used Federal Express, you wouldn't be having this problem. Come with me. You see, Federal Express isn't the same as everybody else because today it takes much more. For instance, we have computers in our vans.
Oh.
So our couriers know instantly when there's a pickup.
I see.
And at our stations, we track every package and can tell you its exact status within 30 minutes or your money back.
Is that right?
And we have the most advanced communication system in the business.
I see.
So we can give you the information you need quickly. This makes us more reliable.
We see.
Next time, send it Federal Express, because all Air Express companies are not the same.
Reliable. I like that in an Air Express company.
Yes, Mr. Reliable.
I've always had a special feeling for Mavericks. It's gotten me associated with winners like the Raiders and Mazda. You know what? Mazda trucks were just named #1 in overall customer satisfaction. They beat some pretty big names to come out on top. Not only are Mazda owners satisfied with their truck, they're even more satisfied with the way Mazda comes through for them after they bought it. You know, I like being even a small part of all this winning that's going on around me.
A very small part.
That small?
Right.
Presenting the NFL 86 team. Ahmad Rashad with interviews and features. Frank DeFord, commentary and essays. Paul McGuire with predictions and analysis. And our host, Bob Costas. NFL 86, it takes a colorful team to cover a colorful sport.
Rising up from sold-out Mile High Stadium as the Denver Broncos start this drive deep in their own end at their 9-yard line. The game clock shows 7:12 to play. The Denver Broncos holding to a 38-36 lead over the Los Angeles Raiders. Lone setback behind John Elway. Coming out of the backfield is Sewell, and Elway's behind him with the throw. It'll be second down and 10.
On the Denver Broncos basically are going now with 7 offensive linemen. They got 2 tight ends, both weigh in excess of 250. And in that particular snap, you saw the Raiders come with what the Bears made famous at 46 defense. They sink their 3 defensive linemen down inside, stop the traps and the lead blocks up front, and put 2 linebackers on one side, 2 safeties on the other side.
The Raiders beat the Broncos twice last year. Both meetings and both were decided in overtime. Now the Broncos deep in their own end, holding to a 2-point lead, trying to get New Downs to get some time to run the clock. On second and 10, the run takes the ball out to the 15-yard line. Gene Lang from LSU on a straight-ahead power dive. Rod Martin on the knockdown.
Watch the job they do. Billy Bryan, 64. Great job on 71. Piquel. Matt Millen gets turned around a little bit. Nice hole by the Denver offensive line for Lang to get up through there.
Game clock running. 6:40 to play and ticking. 38-36. The Broncos lead the game after they trailed early by 12 points.
What do you do here? I think you give it to Wilhite on a sweep.
Now they're going to throw. Elway takes a look. Incomplete, and the Broncos have to punt it. The Raiders should get very good field position with 6:22 to play.
That's on Elway. One of the few bad passes he's thrown today. One of the things they're trying to teach John to do is to take something off of the ball on those short receptions. Wilhite was open, and he underthrew him.
Much younger Los Angeles Raider team. All the veterans that retired or were waived, like Alzado and Dave Dalby. And there's 125 years less NFL experience on this Raider team than there was a season ago, but there's more speed. We saw that speed in evidence earlier when Rod Barksdale, the rookie wide receiver, was on the payoff end of a 57-yard touchdown throw by Wilson. Now punt by Wheeler, Wild downfield, and it's McCallum going to bring it back again as Wheel's punt was fielded at the 44, a 38-yard punt. The return just 1 yard. Next Sunday, our coverage of the 1986 baseball season next Saturday continues. Be sure to join us as the American League Eastern Division race heats up. The Boston Red Sox travel to the Big Apple to play the Yankees. Or you'll see the Dodgers host the Cincinnati Reds. The action gets underway at 3 o'clock Eastern Time with Major League Baseball, an inside look. That's next Saturday on NBC Sports.
Unfortunately for the Denver Bronco defense, not much of a rest there. 3 plays and out by the Denver Bronco offense. And once again, they've got to respond to the challenge here.
Low pass to Christensen is incomplete at the 35-yard line. Dennis Smith, number 49, who's playing with a fractured bone in his shoulder, came up and put the hit on.
Once again, the rollout that worked so well in the second quarter that produced a touchdown. There's Mecklenburg in coverage. Christensen has a good sense of the field. Watch this hit. Smith, that left shoulder, heavily padded with a broken bone on his shoulder anywhere.
That would be a problem.
Caving in your chest, yeah.
Rod Barksdale was wide open on that last play deep. He's on the near flank of the lower portion of your screen, the rookie. Wilson takes a look, throws the ball, caught by Marcus Allen, and he's cut down at the 39-yard line of the Broncos. It's a first down. Clock running, 5:50 to play, as you see. 14-yard gain for the Raiders and a first down for Los Angeles.
Dennis Smith also said in an article concerning Marcus Allen in Sports Illustrated that whenever they play the Raiders, no matter what their game plan is, you've always got to look at Marcus Allen at the end of the half, the end of the game, one of the best money players you can find in the NFL.
They're looking at him. Marcus Allen's numbers increasing. 6 receptions for 99 yards. Run the ball 22 times for 90 more. Marcus Allen slides by one tackler and gets ahead for 3 on a first down carry to the 36-yard line of Denver. Ricky Hundley got him. As we check the scoreboard, now the Bills put up another touchdown, and they're back to within 4 of the Jets. The embarrassment continues for the Dolphins at San Diego, where they trail 50-21. Seattle laying waste to Pittsburgh. New England has now defeated Indianapolis by a 30-point margin.
That's Rick Hundley down on the field, Don. He may be just getting a breather. He's covered kicks today. He's also been on the kickoff return team. He's the guy who made the tackle on Marcus Allen. You can see he's out of breath, too.
Hundley was originally drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals a year ago in the 85 draft. They couldn't sign him, traded him to Denver, where he got, the numbers are right, most unbelievable linebacker contract. It's got to be more than Lawrence Taylor. Got a $1.7 million signing bonus.
I don't like to talk about him.
It hurts, huh?
Yes, it does.
Next Sunday, the NFL goes to week number 2, and the action gets underway at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL 86. Then it's on to some great matchups. The Chargers meet the Giants in New Jersey. The Raiders have a tough second week game. They go to play the Redskins at Washington. Today, the Redskins blew out Buddy Ryan and his Philadelphia Eagles. Buffalo at Cincinnati. In the second games, included on them, Kansas City at Seattle, and Indianapolis goes to Miami. Wilson dumps it off, and Christensen somehow catches the ball. He's short of the first down.
Boy,
but not by a lot.
That is a great play by Mark Wilson. Rulon Jones after him. Theron Como after him. Goes back across his body. Wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. Watch the pressure he eludes. Now, this guy is supposed to be immobile. At 6'6", 205, he may look like a crane out there, but he gets it done.
Christensen builds up his numbers and his production for the Raiders. A man who came to them as a free agent in '79. He's caught 6 for 76 yards and a touchdown. Marcus Allen thundering into the defense of the Denver Broncos gets a first down inside the 29-yard line. He's down to the 27. The game clock ticks. 4 new downs for the Raiders. 4 minutes to play in the game. Raiders trail by 2.
Now this is where Joe Collier and the Denver defense has to do something crazy. I mean, the Raiders are only down by 2, as you said, so a field goal wins the game for them, at least puts them up. Now is when you got to come with your blitzes. Now is when you got to give them your real different looks. And Collier generally has been very good at that.
First and 10, Los Angeles.
See him jumping in and out of the defensive line, Don.
Wilson. Rulon Jones coming open receiver. Down with the ball, down to the 11-yard line. A free ball. Broncos have the football. Barksdale caught it and lost it. Rod Barksdale, the rookie trackman, caught it and lost it, and the Broncos get it back with 3:24 to play, and Denver holding to a 2-point lead.
Now, he didn't catch that ball cleanly. Watch at the end of this. He kind of fumbles a little bit when it hits his hand. Actually, Dokie Williams.
Williams had the ball. Barksdale comes in trying to recover. Dokie Williams lost it. Rick Dennison freed the ball. Dennis Smith recovered out fighting Barksdale for the ball. It was Dokie Williams who lost the ball after he caught it. And now the Broncos get it back at their 10-yard line.
Catch and fumble. First down, Denver.
The replay official did look at it, agreed with us. How many times have we seen this Denver defense come up with a timely big turnover?
Final from San Diego, the Chargers rout the Dolphins 50-28. Don Sprock was in at the end for Miami at quarterback. Nothing happening there for Gene Lang, and finally he works his way back close to the line of scrimmage. It'll be second down and 11. He lost a yard. Jerry Robinson, an outside linebacker, ran him down along with Reggie McKenzie. 3:09 to play, and that's the game clock ticking down.
Denver's still not out of trouble here with the inability to consistently run the ball today. You don't want to have to throw it here. Any penalties in the end zone as the quarterback drops back to throw. That's a safety. There's still a lot of jeopardy here.
2nd and 11 for Elway and the Broncos. They lead by 2 in the 4th quarter. Open man. And the ball is caught by the rookie, Mark Jackson, and he has a first down for the Broncos. 13-yard gain.
Lester Hayes in coverage. He's got good time. Excellent protection by the offensive line. Looking around the field, which is part of the maturity of a John Elway. You see the cushion between Hayes and Jackson. That's an easy first down pickup. Now they got a little breathing room.
Jim Kelly had a spectacular day, but came up a bit short in his debut for Buffalo as the Jets held on to win 28-24. End off as the Broncos go to the run, and on a first down carry, Gene Lang runs the ball. Matt Millen and Reggie McKenzie stop him.
Now the Raiders should start taking timeouts. They got to start taking timeouts here. Defense can call the timeouts. Then the offense can get timeouts by throwing the ball out of bounds and all kinds of things.
2:20 to play, and the L.A. Raiders call timeout as the Broncos will have 2nd down and 7 coming up. Denver trying to run down the clock, and the Raiders trying to get it back there within the field goal of possible victory if they can get it back and run the clock.
Don, big difference for the Denver Broncos this week. Last week turned the ball over, what was it, 6 times? Today just once. And they've gotten 3 turnovers from the Los Angeles Raiders. That's been the big factor in the football game. That and some very, very dumb penalties, in my estimation, taken by the Los Angeles Raiders. You can only try to intimidate a team for so long, and then it hurts you as opposed to helping you.
No matter how many times you see them over the years, you can't help but marvel at the Raiders and their ability to come back when seemingly they're gone. 2:20 to play. Broncos holding to a 38-36 lead as Elway comes back out. John Elway today has put the ball up 34 times. He has completed 20 for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's not been intercepted. Second down. Broncos need 7. Sammy Winder lost 4. Big Sean Jones, a defensive end 99, swept in, cut him off, made the knockdown as the game ticks down to the 2-minute warning.
Well, if they take a timeout here, they got another timeout for the 2-minute warning, and they don't. I don't think teams use those timeouts in the 2 minutes of a half or a game very wisely. I mean, the Raiders could have been in a lot better shape.
AT&T, the right choice. In their last regular season game, the Patriots lead the Bengals by 4. With just 2 minutes remaining, New England has a 4th down and 1 at the Bengal 42. Should the Patriots go for it to try to maintain possession or play it safe and punt, what would you do?
The leader in long-distance service now costs less. AT&T has lowered weekday and evening prices 13.8%, the largest single reduction in our history, but not the first. Since 1984, our prices overall have dropped more than 20%. Of course, you can always look to AT&T for the highest quality service. And now, see where our prices have gone. AT&T, the right choice.
What did you decide? The Patriots elect to go for it, and Robert Weathers' 42-yard touchdown run clinches the victory to send New England on the road to the Super Bowl. The Patriots made the right choice.
Very important part of the Bronco offense. Sidelined for the second half. Vance Johnson, their second-year receiver and returner, went out with a knee injury. We don't know how serious it is, but he's not played in the second half.
Move down a little bit, if you will. See if he's got some ice or something on his knee, no? 2 minutes to play in the game. The Raiders in white, trailing by 2 points.
They led by 1 at the half, extended their lead a couple of times to 8 in the second half. The Broncos kept coming back, and finally Denver took the lead 38-36, capitalizing after a Napoleon McCallum fumble of a return. Then they ran it in, finally got in on the payoff end. The throw by Elway to Gene Lang with the go-ahead points.
Do you throw it here, Don, or you run it? Hope your defense can stop them again.
I think you throw it. Elway looks, going long. Watson going for the ball. He catches it at the 43-yard line of Los Angeles.
Jody Paul.
36-yard gain on 3rd and 10.
Lester Hayes. Bump and run coverage. Good pass protection once again by the Broncos offensive line. Perfectly thrown. Hayes can't reach it. Watson's made 2 monster catches today. 1 for a touchdown, and now that one.
Clock running, 1:20 to go. The Raiders waiting. Raiders have 2 timeouts remaining. Denver has all 3, but the last thing the Broncos want to do is stop the clock. Now let's see what the Raiders do. Broncos huddling at their leisure. Now Denver calls a timeout with 64 ticks left in the game. 38-36 Denver, back after this.
Charlie, give me a light. Oh, Charlie, a Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light. Hey, thanks.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
I can have a light? Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
An urgent message from the Mazda hotline. RX-7s are included in your Mazda dealer's year-end clearance. RX-7, Motor Trend's Import Car of the Year, winner of the IMSA GTU Championship 7 years straight, and the current SCCA Pro Rally Manufacturers Champion. RX-7. It's always been a red-hot performer. Now the deals are hot, too. Hurry to your Mazda dealer's year-end clearance.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado. The Denver Broncos have the ball in a 2-point lead. A 36-yard throw on 3rd and 10. Elway just hit Steve Watson, and now the Broncos will try to run the clock. They keep it away from the Raiders as they try to get it back and go for the winning field goal. Penalty marker as Sammy Winder gets to the line of scrimmage, and the clock stops with a minute to play on the marker. Kansas City has defeated Cincinnati 24-14. New England has beaten Indianapolis 33-3.
Philly, the motion, 2 men were moving, is declined. 2nd down.
Now Flores now sees the 2nd and 10 play coming up. 2nd and 10 as the Raiders decline. No gain on the play. Our formation, 3 tight ends in the game for the Broncos. In motion is Clarence K88. I set in the backfield. 2nd back is Winder. He hits ahead and gets to the 39-yard line. Raiders call a timeout. They have 1 left with 55 seconds to play. A most important play coming up now. Trump, it's a 3rd down coming up for the Denver Broncos, and they'll have about 7.
Stay with the same kind of offense, Don. Just run it in the line of scrimmage. Let the Raiders use their last timeout.
We're all armchair quarterbacks. They're out of field goal range. It would be a 57-yarder if they kicked it from this point. I think Elway's going to throw it.
I disagree with you. I think they'll take their chances, figure that...
I would never take my chances against the Raiders with 50 seconds left. If they take... Well, they would have a chance to punt it also.
Sure.
We're all going to find out. Only Coach Reeves and Elway know at the moment.
All right, I'll put it to you. No, there's no way you throw it. You just dive it into the middle. Let them make the choice. They're going to take a timeout, and you go out there and punt the ball. Just try to get it up in the air.
Make them lose their last timeout.
Make them use their last timeout. Now then the Raider offense must use this sideline. You got to pretty much take away the center of the field. And Ken Stabler with the quarterback, then I'd be a little more worried.
Now we're going to find out right now with 55 seconds to play in Denver leading 38-36. They do go to the run. Here comes Winder as the Raiders shut it down and knocked down for no gain. It's 4th down and 8. And the Raiders use their last timeout with 49 seconds to play. 4th down coming up. And the punter's coming out. Jack Wheel.
Now the most important man in this play is the snapper. And that's Keith Bishop, who is a very accurate snapper. You don't care if you make the tackle. You don't care about anything. You want to make sure that the snap to the center is good. There you see 54. Bishop is very accurate. Good, hard, long snapper. Wheel's got to be reminding himself, catch the ball. He'll go to the sideline. Talking to the punting coach, he says, look, if anything happens, if it's a bad snap, don't try to pick the ball up. Get on the ball. Maintain possession. Those are the things that coaches tell young men when they start their careers. Because the worst thing that could happen here is there's a bad snap, and he tries to turn it into a punt. Just get on the ball, let the Raiders take over.
Best thing about Raider football over the years, the last 2 minutes. They won't have 2 minutes to work with now. Los Angeles trailing Denver 38-36. Napoleon McCallum drops back to look for the punt from Jack Wheel.
They're going to be coming after him, Don.
49 ticks left. The clock starts. Here is a kick into the end zone, so it'll come out to the 20. And the Raiders will go on offense 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line with 42 seconds left. They have to get in field goal range in that time with no timeouts.
Now, earlier in the ball game, we saw Denver go with 7 defensive backs. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 6 in the ball game right now. Now, if you're the Los Angeles Raiders, you don't fight for inches here. You try to save seconds. Any catch, get out of bounds. There'll be a couple of automatic plays called. If there's a completion, everybody goes to the line of scrimmage. The Broncos will be trying to keep them inbounds, fighting for inches, and hopefully extend seconds.
Wilson throws it. It's almost intercepted. Linebacker Ken Woodard, who you remember earlier, picked up a fumble and ran it in 12 yards for one of the Denver scores. Had his hands on it. That would have sealed it. He might have gone in. But it's just an incomplete pass, and now it's 2nd down and 10 for the Raiders.
Broncos playing total zone. Probably good that Christensen didn't catch that pass. Might have taken 20 seconds off the clock. You can't throw the ball to the inside of the field with 37 seconds to go and no timeouts.
No timeouts for the Raiders, who trail by 2 with 35 seconds to play. Another throw.
Lateral.
To lateral to Marcus Allen. He hits to the sideline. The hook and ladder made famous by the Miami Dolphins in that overtime game with the San Diego Chargers. And that one was good for 23 yards. And Marcus Allen additionally got out of bounds to stop the clock with 28 seconds to play.
Still heads-up play by the Denver Bronco defense. Catch, lateral. Steve Foley is able to get out there. And Dennis Smith able to get him out of bounds.
Chris Barr, the Raider place kicker, is not a long-range bomber. They got to get it down a lot farther. Ball at the 43. Clock starts. 25 seconds. They go to Frank Hawkins up the middle, and now the Raiders have to run into formation without a huddle as the green clock is ticking. 19, 18. You see it winding down. That's all the left. They're powerless to stop the clock. A quick throw by Wilson, an incomplete ball, stops the clock, as you see, with 12 seconds to play.
Now, most coaches say, give me 6 seconds to get my field goal team on the field. There's no doubt that this pass has got to go to the outside. If it goes to the inside, there's no way the Raiders can run another play. Certain advantage to the Denver Broncos. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they try to run the hook and lateral to the other side. It worked. You get Allen running straight out of bounds. It's at the 45. I'd say they need 10 yards. 35, 45. They're thinking about a 52-yard attempt.
Rowan Jones gets him. 7 seconds left. A sack at the 42-yard line. And now third down comes up for the Raiders.
Now the Raiders got to assemble. Get to the line of scrimmage. Now the clock is wound.
Clock is ticking. 3, 2, 1, and out for the Raiders on opening day.
No play.
The Denver Broncos come from behind in the fourth quarter to win the game, 38-36. Took some years off of Dan Reeves' life.
Many more like that. He'll leave the field in a wheelchair.
Great sport that he is. Tom Flores comes over to congratulate him. The final number, 38-36. Denver will be back to Mile High after this.